Hey everyone, this is Ben from The Gorge with Ben and Sara, and you're listening to the BS Podcast Network. This is The Gorge. It's a podcast where my friend Sara and I gorge ourselves on discussing what's happening in the world of video games and entertainment.
See, this time you had the intro. The Gorge is brought to you by Patreon. That's patreon.com/thegorge, where for just $5 a month you gain access to not one, but two podcasts. $5 gets you Takeout, our monthly commentary track, where instead of, us playing anything or actively consuming things, instead we watch stuff together and we make fun of it. This most recent episode of Takeout, we watched probably one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen in my entire life. You should absolutely come check it out.
Yeah.
And then if $5 is too rich for your blood, and I understand, then $2 gets you That's Hell You're Walking Into, a podcast where Ben and I put on our swimsuits and head to Las Vegas to grind out yet another summer event.
Back to back, baby!
Back to back, baby!
I have words about that in this episode.
Because it's a podcast where Ben asks me questions about Fate Stay Night and the extended Nasuverse, and I do my damnedest to answer them. Again, the most recent episode of that was a wild ride.
There was a lot going on.
I had to answer what aliens are and what vampires are. One day he's going to ask me what's going on with the moon, and I'm just going to, quit on the spot. Yeah. So, so like I said, if you think all of that sounds like a good time, and I do, head on over to patreon.com/thegorge and sign up. As always, we appreciate everybody who contributes, no matter how much or how little.
We appreciate Nayar Bot, Red Lantern Reviews, Holy Star 64, Neon Hellcat, Patrick Perez, Roddy 1/2, Hasso Toby 27, Saturn, Alice Marks, Shia, Otzi, Magus, Aquamancer, Jack, Liam Lane, and that other one dude. Thank you guys so much.
We love all of you. Now, that being said, let's kick this off.
Yes.
With this month's roundup. So Ben, I'm gonna cut straight to the point. You finally finished your first Fate Grand Order event.
Yes, I did.
I'm so proud of you.
Let me just go down the list of stuff that I did this month.
Sure.
Looking at the list here, it's very small because I didn't do jack shit because my basement flooded.
That's right. We've had a rough couple weeks, folks, but it's fine.
My basement flooded the last Saturday of the month, and it knocked out my air conditioner and our water heater, which means we were put up in a hotel room for a little over 2 weeks.
Yay!
Trying to get all that squared away. Everything is fine now. We got the insurance money, and everything is fixed. Our washer and dryer actually weren't damaged, which I was super happy about.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they had a guy come take a look at it, and he was like, yeah, there is not even a hint of water getting in here. This dust is from when they installed it.
I guess that makes sense, because, all the circuit boards and stuff on washer and dryers are up top.
Yeah.
I've had to open up a washing machine once because mine broke and I didn't have the money for a repair guy, so I literally just opened the back of it and figured it the fuck out on my own. And yeah, all the circuit boards and stuff, they're up at the very top of the machine, so I guess if the bottom gets wet, then it's fine, Yeah, it makes sense. It's a washing machine. It's supposed to get wet.
Yeah, ours did have some circuit boards in the dryer at the bottom of it because he opened it up and showed me what was going on, and there was stuff in the bottom of it, but no water got in at all. So
that's nice.
I was very happy, very happy to hear that because it was costly to replace our air conditioner and our water heater.
No more.
But things are finally back to normal.
So you can play normal video games again.
Yeah, but that did cost me 2 weeks of the month to actually sit down and play stuff.
Sure.
really quick, in that time, I did manage to play a bit more Mass Effect 3.
Oh, okay.
With the DLC that they added, I'm really warming up to Mass Effect 3.
That is stunning, considering how much you very specifically hate Mass Effect 3.
I'm come to realize that I more just hate the last 15 minutes of Mass Effect 3.
That's totally fair.
And it soured the experience of Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, it's like the end of the last season of Game of Thrones, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. But since enough time has passed that I've made, you know, not peace, but I've come to, you know how, like, you just kind of start...
all the stages of grief.
Yeah, so now I'm mostly just tolerating the ending of Mass Effect 3.
Right.
You know, for the sake of being polite to the rest of the other games.
Yeah, yeah, when you don't want to be mean to that one you gotta be nice to that one coworker just to, like, keep the peace. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, it's you know, your friend group brought along one of their friends that's outside of your circle, and you don't like them, but you have to be polite to them for the sake of cohesion and not ruining everyone's good time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's the ending of Mass Effect 3 for me at this point.
Just kind of like very coldly nod your head at them and then just don't make conversation the rest of the night if you can help it.
Yeah, exactly. But I am really enjoying Mass Effect 3 a lot more than I think I did the first time around. I think partly because it is in essence it's about people coming together and helping each other out in the wake of a catastrophe. Which is kind of relevant. You know,
a little bit more relevant 2021, yeah.
It's kind of, you know, one of those, like, wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be nice if people stopped being assholes for 5 fucking minutes? I know.
What if we just kind of, like, helped each other out a little bit?
About that, buddy. Turns out Mass Effect might be a utopian game.
Yeah. It still does have, we'll get into this later, but it still does have a lot of those problems where, like, it's kind of hard to ignore the fact that Shepard is a cop.
Shepard is extremely a cop, like massive, massive space cop.
But if you can kind of just quietly ignore that part, it's really fun. And I'm really enjoying the gameplay a lot this time around.
It's kind of a shame, because either as Shepard, either you are, like, holier than thou, you know, Paragon type, like, lawful boring, you know, like that kind of cop character in media, or you're like the actual kind of cops in the real world where you're just kind of like a racist bully. Like, that's it. Or you're boring and neutral, but then you don't get any, that's not good. So, you know, there's no winning in Mass Effect with Shepard, as it turns out. Whoops.
There's just me going, I'm gonna pretend I said something different in this cutscene.
That's it. It's all projection.
Yeah. So yeah, I made a little bit more progress in that. Also, SGDQ happened while I was in the hotel room, which was kind of like a nice reprieve to kind of relax and wind down with some of that. A lot of really cool runs this year. They did a blind 70-star Mario 64 run.
Oh my god.
Which was, like, insane. Because the 16-star run is, like, you know, I thought that was, like, how the fuck do you even do that blindfolded? And then they're like, no, we have a 70-star run now.
Yeah, I saw the 16, I saw it was 16 stars?
Yeah, I think so.
That's the one I saw last year, and it's insane, because it is just, like, it's all based off of sound cues and, like, you know, memorized motions and stuff. But,
right.
Like, I can't fathom a 70-star run.
Yeah, no, it was insane, because not only is it a lot of, like, mute sound cues and, like, like they call it normalized movement, which is just like, oh, Mario backflips a certain set distance, and, like, if you punch a wall, he gets pushed back a certain set distance, so you can kind of use that to set yourself up. But then they're like, oh yeah, right now he's counting beats in the song so that he can get the timing for these moving platforms correct.
That's amazing.
And I was just like, what?
Yeah, those people are wizards. That's just like, no, it's insane.
There was a really, really good Paper Mario run.
Okay.
Which starts with them playing Ocarina of Time.
Yes! Oh,
and
God, yes. Okay.
And they swap cartridges quick enough that the RAM of Ocarina of Time does weird things to the file in Paper Mario.
I love that. That, to me, this just reinforces my belief that all N64 cartridges are haunted. Because, like, you're basically leaving a little ghost in your N64, right? Like, that then ends up on Paper Mario. Like, that's all that's happening, is that you are casting a spell on that system.
Watching that run, though, is like, makes me question, like, what are the boundaries of a speed run at this point? Like,
yeah.
Why do you start the clock on the Ocarina of Time part? Because you're not even like, you know, the thing where it's like, if you start a new game, like, you have to go through a cutscene. Like, most games have like an unskippable cutscene at the beginning, like Mario 64, and I'm always like, well, why don't they start the clock as soon as you get control of Mario, right?
Sure.
Because, you know, no matter what, every single run is going to have that first 15, 30 seconds added onto it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, why do you count the Zelda Ocarina of Time parts? Because you're not even playing the correct game you're running.
You're not even playing Mario RPG anymore, yeah. Oh my God.
But no, it was great. You know, the Mega Man X runs are always my favorite. Mega Man X, Mega Man X2, just a bunch of really good Mario runs this time. Okay. So they did their Mario 3 run was a cooperative.
Fun. Okay.
Where it was instead of doing a race, they just did both players were playing as Mario and Luigi. You know, they alternate the levels. Which required a lot of like cool setup where it's like, you know, okay, well, you got the star, so you need to do this level to use the star right away. And if the Hammer Brother moves here, then I got to take this level because you got to defeat the Hammer Brother.
Right.
So it was all really interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. And
Speed
like always.
Cool.
I'm very hopeful though that AGDQ 2022 will be at a place though.
Yes. It's just not the same. It's just not the same.
I really do miss the crowds. Like they've gotten a lot more comfortable with doing it streaming. But you know, man, it's just not the same without a big crowd behind them.
Yeah, that's the fun part is people freaking out like over video game shit. Like that's the most fun part is everybody getting really excited about TASBot. Like right? That's one of my favorite like any GDQ memory is the entire crowd losing their mind at a Celeste TASBot run that was just like so optimized you couldn't even keep up with it, you know?
One of their highlight task runs this year is Sonic Heroes, which is the first like 3D game I think I've seen a TASBot for, and it's a nightmare to watch.
I'm sure. I can't even imagine.
Oh, I love it. It's great. But yeah, so that's always fun. I always love when it rolls around. It's just a nice, comforting thing to watch and get hype about. Well, so FGO had their summer event, and I played a lot of that.
You did it! I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud. You actually finished an event because when you started, literally when you started the game, the Aprilia rerun was happening.
Yeah,
and you literally couldn't finish it because it's like my count is too new.
Yeah, it's just like I can't even like ride off of the high of like the friends unit because like I just can't.
Yeah.
There's no way. So
unfortunately.
So before the summer event, they also had that anniversary event where they just made all of the grinding missions just free and active. So it helped that I just got to do that over and over again and get tons of resources and level everyone up and like ascend everyone.
Yeah, actually like make your account into something that is playable instead of just a bunch of like unleveled 4 stars because you just don't have the resources. Yeah,
so that was kind of nice to just be like boom, 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 ascend. All right, cool. Now they're like at a level that's acceptable.
I can actually do things with them now. Oh my god.
So yeah, I did do the summer event. It was hilarious. It's
great. It's great. Summer 3 is literally, I think, one of the best It's probably the second best event in the game behind CCC. And really, depending on my mood, I might still say Summer 3 is better just because it's so fun.
The writing in it is just so fun and clever.
Yeah, it's great, right?
It's really not what you would expect a game like FGO to... Like, that kind of humor you would not expect it to have, right?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, it's one thing to, like, make, you know, kind of coy references to, like, standard tropes and stuff, but, like... FGO just goes all out with Summer 3.
Yeah, and I think it's partly the fact that by the time Summer 3 rolled around, they had really kind of found their feet in terms of like the translation, like localization, which plays such a massive part in a game like this. Because I've said before, you know, back when FGO first launched, the localization was gobbledygook. It was nonsense.
Right.
And so these days, like, they've really kind of found their feet, and they're able to translate these jokes into a thing that kind of scans well for a Western audience. And, like, yeah, there's tons of great jokes. There's a lot of heart, because there's just, like, it's so in love with cons and Comiket in particular, and the labor that goes into making Dojin. And I mean, yeah, and like the whole like summer vibes. It's very weird that like Summer 3 has such good summery vibes, despite being just like an event in a gacha game. You know what I mean? Like the music and everything. You're just like, yeah. Mostly because like they perfectly capture the dual feelings of, one, going to the beach with your friends, and two, going to a con with your friends.
Yeah.
It's 7 a.m. Let's just drag ourselves down to the buffet and try to eat something.
It was one of those, like, I was playing it, and I'm not really, like, a con guy, you know? I like going to them. They're a fun weekend, but I'm not going, like, back-to-back cons. Like,
oh, yeah, I go, like, to one a year.
Yeah, one a year at most, and, like, it's been a while since I've even been to one. I mean, besides the obvious reason why I haven't gone to a con.
Right.
But it's like, you know, since we went to MomoCon, like, before that, I think, I can't even remember what my last con was before that.
Yeah.
But I was, you know, I was playing it, and, you know, you get to the point where you go down to you get your booth set up at the Artist Alley, you know, and you're selling your Dojin, and I was just like, God, I would fucking give anything to see a Homestuck cosplayer in a food court right now.
Just fucking anything to eat some overpriced Chinese food, like, outside, because there's nowhere else to sit.
Oh,
and just, like...
I would give anything to trip over someone's dumbass prop right now.
Yes, please, God. Wander around a massive dealer's room until your feet are killing you. Yes.
And you're like, I can't afford any of this. It's way too expensive.
But then you, like, still talk yourself into buying shit you don't need.
Yeah.
You want something from this. Like, you went into this godforsaken dealer's room. You're buying something, okay? Even if you don't fucking need it.
God, the idea of looking at the panels lined up and being like, God, I don't know, do you want to go to this? And your friends are like, yeah, I guess. It might be fun. And you have, like, you kind of have fun. You know, you weren't bored, but God, man.
If it, just right, would you just not kill to experience that again right now? Please,
I would
please.
The feeling of being slightly disappointed and feeling like you didn't do enough. Oh, I need that right now.
Be extremely, extremely drunk while wandering the con floor at like 10 p.m. You know what I mean? Like, that's aces. Waiting in line for like a fucking arcade game from Japan and just like wishing the fucking weeb in front of you would move his ass so you could play some goddamn Q-Beat. Please.
I want to do kind of okay at DDR and then get shoved off for a guy who like does doubles.
Who does doubles backwards? Yeah.
Man, I want to.
Oh, if only.
The urge of like, God, I really should have just asked to take a picture because that was a good cosplay.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have just walked by.
But then taking cosplay photos and never actually uploading them anywhere, so they just live on your phone forever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all of those Universal Con feelings, absolutely.
Anything for that feeling. God.
Yeah.
God.
It's very funny how good, like, how much I was thinking of all of that while replaying Summer 3. Just be like, oh God, yeah, I know all of these vibes. And then it's also combined with like a train wreck beach trip that you take with your friends, which I have been on multiple times. I've been on train wreck beach trips with my friends. It's like, yeah, those are two great tastes that taste great together, actually, as it turns out. I would love to go to a con at the beach. Jesus.
Yeah, right?
That'd be amazing. It'd be so expensive, I bet, but it'd be amazing.
It would definitely be expensive.
Yeah, could you imagine? But,
so we're going to TFCon next year.
So we're going to TFCon next year. Which is not at the beach.
No, but it'll scratch that itch.
It'll scratch that itch. I'm half tempted to go to, like, see if I can wrangle some friends to go to MomoCon early in the year as well, so I can just go to, like, because TFCon is nowhere near as big as MomoCon. Like, it's decently sized, but
since it's like, you know, it's focused on one specific thing, it's not going to have that broad appeal.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot more manageable. But, like, I love me a really big con, and MomoCon is one of the biggest ones, like, you can go to in the South that isn't the absurd nightmare of Dragon Con. Although, like, I have friends who are Dragon Con people, the way you can be like a Comic-Con person. Mm-hmm. And I just can't. They want me to do Dragon Con with them one year so badly. And it's like, those passes are $150.
Oof.
The rooms are insanely expensive, and it is, like, aggressively a party con. Like, during the day, it's kind of quiet and nothing's really happening. But, like, everything goes fucking insane at night. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that sounds fun, but it also sounds like I might be a grandma at this point. Because I'm
32.
That just makes me tired thinking about it sometimes. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Listen, I'll go to a con, but I'm 32. I have a bedtime now.
Oh, God. So, we shall see. But yeah, how do you like that grind, Ben?
I hated it. It sucked. I didn't want to do it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That sucked shit.
Too bad. Welcome to FGO. That's literally now do you understand why people obsess so much over making like 3-turn like farming setups?
Yeah.
You get it now. You're like, I just want to play the game, and then you do the same node over and over again, and every time it takes you 10 turns, and you're like, no more.
And so the thing that sucked the most is that when I was doing all this grinding, I was in the hotel room.
Yes.
Which meant I didn't have, like, you know, a laptop or my desktop or another console that I could, like, you know, queue up some GDQ runs and watch those while I just kind of tapped away and ground. You know, I couldn't do that. I just had to sit there and do the missions.
Oh, you poor bastard.
So it did go a lot smoother when I got home, finally, and was able to just kind of, like, you know, do them while, you know, doing other stuff.
Right.
Sneak one in, you know, at work and whatnot. But no, it was super funny. It was really good. I did manage to get enough materials to get all 3 of the important draws. I'm so proud. With like 2 polls, I managed to get Summer BB, Summer Maeve, and
XX.
Yes, XX, Zero's Hero and XX. I got 2 of those actually, so I got to level up her Noble Phantasm.
I can't believe that. I cannot fucking believe that.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for Summer BB. I'm just gonna do it and buy the big pack of quartz and just, you know, whatever. I'll do it.
It's fine.
Everybody's
whatever.
Got
somebody to simp for. It's cool.
First pull I get her, and I'm like, well, all right then.
I guess I have all these extra quartz now.
This can just sit here for later.
Well, I guess that means you can roll for Merlin whenever he's on raid up, fine, because he'll be on raid up with Summer 4, and unless you just really want to, roll for some of the hotter Summer servants, which is also totally valid. But you have so many fucking Buster servants that, like...
I know, but I want more of them. I want all Busters all the time.
But Merlin is the ultimate Buster support. Like,
I know.
He is the great... Like, you have all these great Buster servants, and the best way to make them unstoppable is to just bring a Merlin. Maybe even bring 2 Merlins. If you have your own Merlin, you can bring somebody else's.
It's just that thing where it's just like the only stat I care about changing is the opponent's HP stat to 0.
0. If the button is red, enemy equals dead. Okay?
Which is the thing. It's like, oh, well, you can set up this, and this to get, to really, emphasize on opponent's weaknesses. No. What hit harder?
I want the number to go up, and the number being the damage number.
That's all I want. Who cares about generating crit stars if I can just kill them anyway?
Ben, crit stars can be exchanged for bigger damage.
Not if I don't need it, because I'm already strong enough. Oh, you can spend this turn building up your crit stars, or I could kill them. Or I could just do enough damage outright.
You're gonna have fun when you start hitting break bars, and it's gonna change the whole way the game play. I guess you have hit some break bars.
Yeah, there are.
3.
Those suck.
Welcome to that's the meta. They were like, oh fuck, people keep nuking our bosses. We gotta find a way to fix that and make it more interesting.
Oh, did you break them in the first character's turn? I guess you have to waste your other 2 turns.
Uh-huh. It's fine. It's fun.
There was one downside to just kind of like tapping away and not thinking about it. Mm-hmm. Which is when the final, like the boss of those missions would use an evade and I wouldn't notice and cash in all my noble phantasms.
You gotta pay attention, buddy.
I wasn't looking. I didn't see the little tiny guy in the cloak in the corner up there.
The dude in the cloak says that's not going to hit unless you have... That's what sure hit does, by the way. Yeah. If you didn't know. If you were like, what does sure hit do? Because the game doesn't tell you what sure hit does.
I mean, I could tell what ignore... I knew what ignore invincible does.
Invincible, yeah, but sure hit ignores evade.
Okay.
Because evade and invincible are 2 different things. So,
yep.
And there are some Noble Phantasms that pierce all defensive buffs, and there are some Noble Phantasms that don't pierce the defensive buff before the damage. They'll do it after the damage. So sometimes you can use the MP to clear that, and then the rest of the chain can be used to actually do damage. So there you go. Welcome to FGO. Sorry I ruined your life. It's fine. It's good.
It's all right. It's still revenge
for It's revenge for Transformers.
I'm still enjoying it. It's still a fun game. Yeah. And now that my characters are like getting strong, I feel more able to like do things in the game.
Instead of just relying on your friends, just going crying to your friends list like they won't stop bullying me.
I do like whenever I'm just like, hey Sarah, log in real quick so I can use your servant. And make sure you have the CE equipped so that I can get more points. Oh,
I do that too. I do that to my friends list still. I'll message Magus and be like, hey, I need you to change your CE real fast. Thanks, buddy. So that's the nice thing. That's actually like the best part, I think, of FGO is the ability to just like use your friends' servants. Because otherwise, like, it would be way more untenable. I think it'd just be way more insufferable. In this way, like, if you don't roll somebody, like, I didn't roll Arjuna Alter, which he's never had a rerun. He released with Lost Belt 4, and even in JP, he's never had a rerun. So I didn't roll him, so I'm never rolling him. So, fortunately, people on my friends list have him, so I can just use theirs, which is nice.
It's like if you play Dragon Ball Z Fighters online, and you can't afford the DLC, you just get good with Ginyu, and then you can afford the DLC.
That's awesome. Okay, well,
so let's see. What I think that's about it for me. Just one more thing.
Oh.
Just one more thing, and then I'll get out of your hair.
You suck. You piece of shit.
So I
got on that joke this whole conversation.
So I got Columbo pilled.
I can't believe this.
Since literally fucking everyone on my Twitter timeline is talking about watching Columbo, I decided to start watching Columbo.
Sure, why not?
Guess what? Columbo's really good. Who would have thought Columbo would be really good? It's amazing. Every single episode is the exact same plot structure every single time, and it's always great.
And you love it every time.
It's a rich person commits a murder, and then hides, tries to cover it up, and that takes about 20 minutes, and then the main character shows up. Each episode is about like an hour, 15 minutes long.
Really? Okay.
And Columbo doesn't show up until like 15 to 20 minutes in.
Oh, God.
Columbo shows up, and for the next about 45 minutes, he bothers the rich person. Until eventually the rich person gets so fed up that they confess to the murder.
Just to get rid of him. Okay.
And that's it. That's every single episode of Columbo.
Awesome. Incredible.
It's amazing. It's just phenomenal. Every single time, it's just some rich asshole who thinks they can get away with a murder, and then here comes this shabby-looking, bumbling detective who has no personal life, has no close friends or associates.
Okay, no kids, no like interpersonal drama to speak of.
No, he just all of it. It's very Phoenix Wright.
Oh, okay.
Because, Phoenix himself doesn't really have, like, a social life outside of the office. Because you only check in on him when you're doing a case, right?
Right, yeah, of course.
So it's like that. It is just like that, where it's just... Columbo just exists as this sort of weird, law-abiding cryptid that manifests when a murder happens, and then, like... somehow already knows who the killer is and just pesters them
until they confess. Sounds good.
Until like he wears them down and they keep screwing up until eventually he finally grabs like concrete evidence that he can use to convict them.
That's amazing.
It's great. Oh, I love it.
Oh my god.
The only problem is that every episode is like over an hour long, so you have to kind of commit to it.
Well, yeah, you just do like one a night. You pace yourself, I assume.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
So, like, how long is every season? How many seasons are there?
There's 9 seasons.
Oh my god!
I think there's only like I think 7 episodes a season. Because back in the 70s, it was like these are like TV movies.
Yeah. Okay. That's
so like
that's
they would air as like special feature like TV movies. Like
okay.
The first one was actually like a pilot for like a more legitimate because it's like 2 hours long.
Oh.
And it was in 1969, and then they didn't make another one until 1973.
Oh my god. Okay.
And that's when it got picked up as like a serial,
Okay. Yeah.
It's also aggressively 70s.
Oh, I bet. Oh my god.
Like
a detective show in the 1970s? Yeah.
It is aggressively 1970s LA.
So everything is brown and wood panels.
Yes.
And green shag floors.
Yes. Everyone wears ascots.
And polyester. Oh yeah, I can see it. Patterned, like really gaudy patterns.
Columbo has these cheap cigars that he smokes indoors.
Oh god. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what that set smells like? Oh, I hate to even think about it. It makes my skin crawl.
Oh, it's great. He doesn't even have a first name. The dude does not have a first name.
He literally is just named Columbo.
He's Lieutenant Columbo, and that's all anyone ever calls him.
And he never says his first name?
No, never.
Oh my god. He is a cryptid. He really is a crime-solving cryptid.
He talks about his wife, like, all the time. Like, that's one of his, like, disarming techniques, is, like, talk about, like, what his wife wants and everything like that. Mm-hmm. It's never actually shown if he actually is married or not. He might just be making up a wife to, like, you know, play up being, like, this affable guy.
Yeah. Oh, God, that's amazing.
It's great because, like, and it's just funny because, like, you know who the killer is right away because the murder happens, like, within the first...
there's no whodunit aspect.
Yeah. It's just, like, how is he going to get him?
Right,
like,
okay.
What's he going to do to, like, trip this guy up or whatever?
That's
it's
amazing.
great. I love it.
Oh, my God. Columbo. That's the
super
thing.
fun.
That's the hot new trend that the kids are into these days.
I know, right?
1970s detective show.
It's great. There's no action. He never gets in, like, a fight. He never pulls out a gun or anything like that. He's just, like, he just shows up to, like, this rich guy's manor, and he's like, oh, hey, look at this thing you got here. Well, that looks swell. Boy, are you a golfer? And then he just, like, wears this guy down until he's like, oh, my God.
Annoying.
And, you know, because, like, all he
would
does...
be better than this.
All he does is just, like, imply that he's like, I totally know it was you, by the way.
Right.
He just, like, says, like, a few things here and there, and the guy, and, you know, then it just cuts to the perp just, like, sweating in his, you know, in his lounge chair, drinking, you know, scotch from his, like, you know, crystal decanter.
Goblet. Yeah. Oh, it's amazing.
Oh, I love it.
Well... Speaking
so
of old TV shows...
Yes, what have you been up to?
I feel like I've lost my mind. I haven't played as many video games as I should, because I don't know what's happened to me. I think this is because of Transformers. I think Transformers did this to me. It, like, tripped something, or maybe it was Riverdale. Maybe it was both. It was a combination of the two, and it unlocked some really stupid center of my brain that made me want to, like, watch. I'm not like a TV person. I don't really like watch TV, like, and that's not to be like a snob. I just don't.
Yeah,
really,
I just
don't really care about TV. You know, like if you like TV, that's fine. But like I've never been like a big TV person.
Yeah, I mean, like it's like I know it because we had to like move everything from the basement upstairs, you know, from the flood stuff. So we're kind of like taking inventory, and I'm like, my like DVD to video game ratio.
Oh yeah, it's
pretty skewed.
Yeah, it's extremely skewed. I own like 20 movies maybe compared to like the dozens of games I own. Yeah.
So yeah, you just don't consume that form of media. We picked our form of media.
Yeah, you specialized in one thing or another, and I picked video games. But then I hit, you know, when you hit a certain age, you are allowed to cross-class into a different type of media. And so I started watching Star Trek: The Next Generation.
So we both picked one of the series that is like required watching, basically.
Oh yeah, yes. I don't know. Okay, I do know how it happened. Like, when I work, I just kind of let YouTube autoplay run, and because, like, I have my autoplay pretty finely tuned, I don't get, like, alt-right horse shit, you know what I mean?
Right.
I usually end up watching, like, the same 20 videos over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
Until something new kind of pops into the loadout, you know?
My autoplay right now is queuing up a lot of Family Guy.
Because
I watched like one Family Guy clip, and then that just kind of like cascaded, and now I'm just like,
don't you hate that? Like, no,
all right,
I'm not that interested. But so my autoplay took me to one of the Red Letter Media review, like where Mike and Rich are talking about The Next Generation, and it was specifically some of their favorite episodes of TNG. And I mean, if you watch Red Letter Media, you know that these are like cynical, jaded, angry, drunk, tired, old, mean, drunk,
Except for Jack.
Except for Jack, God love him.
They're-
Midwesterners who, like, don't like anything, right? But, like, when Mike and Rich talk about Star Trek, they're just so happy all of the time. And I'm like, I want to feel that happiness. I want to know what that's like. You know? So I took their advice. They mentioned in one of their episodes, they're like, don't start with season 1 because the first 2 seasons are really rough. Start with season 3 and then backfill if you think you like it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I started with season 3. And I really, really like it. Like, a lot. It's just good. I mean, it is also, like, has a very set structure, which is, I mean, like, it's this kind of the same thing happens every time. There's, like, a cold open that establishes, like, the danger, and then the whole show is basically about the danger, and then they resolve it in the last 5 minutes and then roll credits. You know what I mean? Like, they don't really ever focus on the aftermath that much. Like, they're not really interested in that part. But there's, like, exploration gone wrong or sick episode. You know what I mean? There's, like, a handful of certain types.
That is kind of like Columbo, which in that the episode always ends with the police, like, taking the guy away.
Yeah.
They never show the trial or, like,
no,
any
that part
aftermath.
doesn't matter. No.
Or, like, any closure for, like, the relatives of the victim or whatever. No, they caught the guy. It's over.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, that's all that matters. That's basically how Star Trek is, too. Like, they kind of will call back just certain things from, like, previous episodes, because it is still, you know, there's still continuity. Mm-hmm. But it is extremely episodic, which I like. And you can just, kind of let it run in the background. And, like, you still have to pay some attention. But, like, you know, it's a TV show. It's meant to not, it's a TV show that played in the 90s, you know? It's not meant to always be paid attention, because it was understood that people would have their lives going on. You couldn't pause a TV show in the 90s, right?
No, that would, you know, we were barbarians back then.
I know, how did we live? So you would, it was expected that other stuff was going on in your life while Star Trek was on. So, you know, like, it has a nice, easy format. It's easy to follow, and like, the main cast is super charming. I think that's the thing that is probably, like, the thing that I am the most interested in, and the thing that keeps me watching is the fact that, like, the primary cast of characters, which is Picard, Riker, Worf, Geordi, Data, Troy, and Dr. Crusher, and Wesley sometimes. Like, that's, like, the major characters, and there's, like, a couple of, like, side characters as well who recur. Mm-hmm. But, like, they all have such good chemistry. Like, they all just seem like they're actually, like, friends who get along and goof off and make jokes, and like, they all like each other, and it's just so nice. It's very cozy. It's an oddly cozy show, despite being like a episodic sci-fi series. Mm-hmm. It's very comfy, and I like it a lot. I also think that the world went wrong when our sci-fi shit stopped looking like Epcot. The whole world just went insane.
I agree.
Yeah. Like, that's the most Epcot-ass looking fucking spaceship I've ever seen in my entire life.
Like, I have seen enough clips of The Next Generation to, like, know that that's the ideal. That's the peak.
Looks like the inside of a 90s Taco Bell in the best way. Like, yeah. Like, everything's got vinyl, and, like, you know, the screens are all, like, cheap-looking plastic with printouts underneath it. And it all just looks so... It looks like... You
remember watching the Space Mutiny episode of MST3K where they make fun of the fact that, like, oh, the ship has a really extensive basement.
Yeah.
That's the vibe, but good, that TNG has.
Yeah, they have a lot of sets. The sets are definitely, like, the sets were way cheaper in the first 2 seasons, which is another reason to not start with the first 2 seasons. But, like, by season, 3 and 4, they're starting to get nicer sets, and, like, the Enterprise set itself is very, like, detailed. Like, they have a lot of different rooms and stuff, so it actually feels like a huge... I mean, it's a huge spaceship meant to, like, house, like, 1,000 people. Like, 1,000 people live on this ship full time.
Right.
So, like, you get that sense of scale and stuff, and it's really, like, it's just the best. It's just the best, because, like, honestly, the CGI has aged better than these sets, and I mean that, like, with all of the love in my heart, because all of the plants look like they are 100% made out of plastic. Everything just looks so cheap, and I love it. This is the pinnacle of the space future. We are living in a utopian society.
You know what I really wish is... I wish more shows nowadays, because I know, like, a lot of the DC shows, like the Arrowverse are do this. I wish more shows would be brave enough to have the budget of a tokusatsu series.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's great. I mean, God love them. Every time they do a fist fight, it still looks like dog shit. It's just like it's fucking
the fakest whiffs ever.
Absolutely. They don't even try, and I think it's adorable. I love it. I just think it's a great show. The writing is really good. Like, when it's doing what it's good at, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's really good at that thing. Like, it's all about how we can resolve our issues with, like, talking and stuff like that. And it's great. I mean, like, I just love it. I just love watching it. There's so many good episodes that I've already seen in just 2 seasons. 2.5 seasons. I'm not even done with season 4 yet. Or 1.5 seasons, I guess I should say. Like, because I'm not done with season 4 yet. And, like, I've just enjoyed so many fucking episodes. And I know that it falls off... How many seasons are there? I think there's 7 seasons? 7 or 8 seasons. And I know it falls off around season 6. It kind of, like, has a bit of a quality drop. Mm-hmm. But, like, that still means that I've got plenty of show to go where it's still really good.
You've got a ways to go. And then, you can move on to, like, Deep Space Nine or Voyager.
I almost certainly will. Because, fuck. I might as well be on these 2, like... I have decided that I am just going to accumulate space dads.
And, then you can read the Star Trek Transformers crossover comics.
Stop it! Stop it right now! God damn it! I knew you were going to say that.
Which is not TNG, it's the old, the old classic one, but still.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little different. I have seen the original series. I have watched all of the original series. That's like my dorkier claim is that I watched all of the original series in high school because if you're going to be like the weird girl, you might as well just
embrace it.
Yeah, just be the weird girl and watch all of Star Trek, the original series. That show has not aged as well, but like, the core cast is, again, very good, so it's fine.
Yeah. I would assume that TNG has aged better than
significantly
the original
better
series.
than the original series, yeah.
I know that for its time it was pretty, revolutionary, but I'm sure a lot of it has not aged well.
No, sir, not at all. And, like, God love him, like, the show is... like, it's ostensibly set... This is the Next Generation. It is ostensibly set in, like, a utopian future. But, like, sometimes, especially in Season 3, they just don't know what to do with female characters. They're just like, they can just talk about men and fall in love, right? And I'm like, Gene Roddenberry.
It's set in a utopian future, but it was not written in one.
No, sir. The only thing that is actually truly egregious, and again, this is because the show came out in season 4 came out in 1991. So there is an episode that I just watched like 2 days ago I actually stopped watching it for a day or two because I was so mad. So there's an episode where the doctor lady, her name, that's Beverly Crusher, right?
Mm-hmm.
She falls in love with this ambassador from some other planet, and on the process of like going to negotiate peace, you know, between these two factions, the ambassador takes a fatal injury, and it's discovered that the mind that controls the body is a parasite, right?
Right.
So they put the parasite in Riker to try and keep the parasite. I guess it's a symbiote. It's not actually a parasite because it's
right.
They both work together. So they put the symbiote in Riker for the time being to negotiate the peace because they're on like a short time scale. And in that time, it's super awkward because like Beverly is still in love with
the symbiote.
With the symbiote, but like he's in Riker's body, and it's super awkward because like Riker and Crusher just like do not have that kind of a relationship in the show, like at all. Like Riker is definitely the Kirk of the show, where he's just constantly getting laid, like
right.
with everybody. But like it's just not with Beverly, because like Beverly has like a weird will they won't they with Picard, so like, you know what I'm saying? Like she's older than him, and they're just not each other's type, that kind of thing. So like this romantic shit is happening between Crusher and Riker, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. And then it turns out like Riker, like the body, like human bodies can't host the symbiote, so they gotta take it out of him, and then like the new replacement body shows up, and it's a woman, you know, like that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
and Crusher does not take it well. And I'm just sitting here the whole time like, you sons of bitches, how fucking dare you. And like they frame it as like a whole like, well, you know, how many times are you going to change bodies? I don't know how comfortable I am with this, da-da-da. But, like, boy, you were still okay with, like, macking on Riker when it was in his body. But now this hot lady shows up. She's a good-looking woman, too. This hot blonde lady shows up and calls you, you know, like, the little hyperchorism that you two have between each other. And like, now you're acting weird about it? I'm like, Star Trek, you cowards! You fucking coward. And then it turns out the fucking Gates McFadden, the woman who plays Crusher, also didn't like that. And was like, no, if anybody should have had the symbiote in them, it should have been Troy, because I personally wanted to see Troy and Crusher kiss at one point. And I was like, yes! So she does understand. So that's like, you know, it's still a show that came out in 1991.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you just have to get they don't get a pass, but the statute of limitations is expired for you to like what are you going to do?
About it?
What are you going to do? Cancel the next generation?
What am I going to do? Write an angry letter to dead for several decades now Gene Roddenberry? Like, come on.
Excuse me, did you know that Star Trek is problematic? You're a little late on that one.
I'm a little late on that one. But I can be personally angry, especially with the fact that Gates McFadden herself was like, no, I wanted to kiss Deanna Troi. And like, yeah, I also want to see you kiss Deanna Troi. Absolutely. So, you know.
You just kind of have to sit there and take it. Just be like, oh.
Get mad and walk away from the show for a day or two and then come back to it because you still really like it, of course. So, you know, Star Trek, it's good. You should watch The Next Generation. I highly recommend it, even with the caveats of it being a very old sci-fi show. If you go in prepared for that, you'll be fine. I think a lot of people nowadays, like too many people nowadays, are not willing to overlook the limitations of older media. Yeah, the time period. Yeah. Yeah, and it's like
you know, because like I'm thinking about starting to watch Beast Wars at some point. And it's just like, oh, but the CGI is bad. It's like, yeah, that show came out in the early 90s. Of course it's bad. I know that.
I know that. Like, but that is still a hurdle I have to get over, because I can handle a lot of things, but like bad CGI is when you start to kind of lose me, because like it's gotta look at least kind of good for me to be like invested.
I would almost rather like watch Beast Wars bad CGI than the bad CGI that pops up in like Prime, though. Because like at least with Beast Wars it's consistently bad.
Well, with Beast Wars there's also no human characters.
Yeah, that does help.
And that definitely does help, because like Prime looks great until they put people on the screen. It's like, wow, like, you spent $10 whole on all of these models.
Like it's like, have you ever seen like Jack's concept art?
No, actually.
He looks way better as a 2D character than he does as a 3D model.
That is actually super true. I have seen the concept art for all the robots and stuff in Prime. And it's like, oh wow, the show could have just looked like this. Shit, that would have been way better.
Yeah. I think like I can overlook some bad CGI and maybe some content that has not aged well.
Right. Well, if you watch Beast Wars, maybe I'll watch Beast Wars.
Yeah. Maybe I think I might, if anything, I might watch TNG before I watch Beast Wars, though.
Yes, watch TNG with me. It's so good.
And you should watch Columbo.
I'll give it a shot.
Columbo has only had one moment where I was like, ooh, that hasn't aged very well.
Oh. What was it?
Columbo was like, how do you feel working for a woman?
Oh, oof.
And I was like, oof.
Right in the gut.
And it wasn't him like trying to needle a perp. He was just like asking it to some random guy.
Oh no.
So it was just like, oof.
Oh
no. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, Star Trek, God love them, they do, like, make a point of being, like, you know, yes, we're all, you know, we're all equal, and da-da-da, so, like, there are female admirals, and, you know, black admirals, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff that, like, just wouldn't have even been, even in, like, the original series, like, that stuff just wouldn't have even been a thing, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
like, you know, God love them, they're trying, it's just, like... And I know it gets better, too. I know that, like later seasons, they do, like, gay stuff better, so I'm gonna give it a pass. And I'm allowed to say that.
It's just the way you...
They do gay stuff better.
They get into that weird, freaky gay stuff later. It's great. I'm looking forward to it.
Somebody's gonna isolate that clip of you saying that, and it's just gonna be all over Twitter. The Gorge is canceled.
I was making fun of my female co-host.
I was making fun of my gay female co-host. It's fine.
What's the name of that podcast you do, Sarah? The one that I'm not on for a specific reason?
Another podcast about big gay nerds. We're being a bunch of cool queer friends get together and we play tabletop games.
And I'm not in it.
Oh God, I'm crying. Okay.
Did you do anything besides watch Star Trek?
Nothing of importance. We gotta move on. Let's get to the news.
We got some news.
Oh God.
Speaking of weird gay stuff,
stop it!
The Last of Us Part 2 breaks if you go too fast. So they are discovering, speedrunners for The Last of Us 2 are discovering a problem with a certain part that they kind of have to work around their routing. Basically, one of the parts where you're playing as the other character, Abby, and you're chasing Tommy, who is Joel's brother from the first game.
Yeah.
He's supposed to do the thing where, like, no matter what you do, he gets to a door first, and you can't catch him, right? Like, he gets, close the door behind him, and you can't get to him.
Right.
If you do somehow manage to exploit a bug to catch up to him before he gets into that door,
oh no,
the AI doesn't know what to do, and he just kind of stops moving. And he just stands there.
Oh no! So could you just like murk him? Can you just
you can kill him, and his character model just like dies, and so all that happens is you just soft lock the game.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just think the idea of it just being like because like other games are like no matter what you do, you can never catch up, right?
Yeah.
No matter what kind of thing you exploit, you can't catch this person or whatever.
I guess because, because the whole thing is in, like, that whole encounter is in engine. Like, it's not that it cuts to a cutscene.
Yeah.
You with, like, the I guess another game, and this is not really even I'm not, like, a big fan of The Last of Us 2, and this isn't really knocking the way The Last of Us 2 has made this sequence. But, another game would be, like, once you hit a certain point, maybe you hit like a cutscene trigger.
Yeah.
But
or like there's like a field around the character model, which is like if you cross that field, like you can't move forward, like or something stops you, or like your character slows down.
So like I guess to Naughty Dog's credit, it is kind of cool that it is all like in engine, but it sure is making speedrunners' lives harder, I guess.
Yeah, all you have to do is just kind of wait a bit or not exploit that glitch to get around it.
Can't go fast.
But it just made me think of just like what if it's like you can kill, like, he's a NPC that exists, so you can kill the NPC, right?
Right.
So it's like, what if the game just kept going? And he was just dead now.
He was just dead. I wish. That would be great. That's like the dream of the future, isn't it? Where, like, true choice games, you kill anybody and the story keeps going. I guess that's not even really the dream of the future. That's just the dream of New Vegas. But, you know, not every video game can be as good or as advanced as Fallout New Vegas. You know what I mean?
Right. I also just like the idea of the game just, like, seeing that being like, and just it throws its hands up. Like, well, I got nothing now. You weren't supposed to do that.
You're just stuck in this room now. Sorry.
It's like being on stage where, like, someone trips over and, like, knocks over, like, the backdrop.
Yeah.
You just got to be like, well, we can't do anything.
Those trees are gone now. Sorry.
So, let's see, what else? State of Play July 2021. They had a State of Play.
I don't even remember what was at that State of Play. I feel like it was not a good one. I think I might have just forgotten everything that was in it.
So they had Moss Book 2, which is that VR mouse game.
Oh, Redwall game, yeah.
I don't know why it's a VR game, because it looks just like a 3D platformer. Let's see. Tribes of Midgard got an update. Oh, we saw Fist. We saw more of Fist.
Fist?
Fist is the rabbit character action game.
Oh yeah, that looks cute. That looks cute.
You have the bunny with the big robot arm.
Right. Okay.
That looks good, like a 2D Devil May Cry.
Right.
Hunter's Arena Legends, which I think is that game that was like, what if you combined a fighting game with a MOBA?
No, it was a battle royale.
And it was like, what if you combine my face with my ass?
What if I combined the roof of my mouth with a gun? You know what I mean? Like,
what if I combined pillows and blanket? Because I'm going to sleep.
Yeah, no, it was awful. Wretched.
We saw more of Sifu, which
that's cool.
It
has like an aging mechanic now. I didn't know
that. Every time you die, you just come back a year later and try again, I guess.
Cool.
Is the idea. Yeah, that looks really cool. I wonder if there's a way to, like, reset it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just going to, like, run out of numbers eventually.
You just be like an old man, just kicking everybody's ass in the hallway sequence from Old Boy.
Let's see what else. Demon Slayer is getting an adventure thing.
Sure.
Lost Judgment looks cool.
Yeah.
I really wish I could get more into the Yakuza games. I still really want to play 7.
Yeah, I might play 7 at some point, but it's just kind of like, there's so many other games out, and like, Yakuza as a series has never really done anything for me. Mm-hmm. Just like, I know it's good, it just doesn't really catch my attention. It's just not, it's fine. So like, I'm like, yeah, I could get into Yakuza, or I could play like the 8,000 other games that are coming out that that I actually do care about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to play 7 more than anything else because I did play a little bit of 0 and I like the story, but I did not like the gameplay.
Oh yeah, I heard it's very clunky.
I mean, like, I know there are some that are like better to like play that feel better, but I know 0 was one of the better ones. So if that one's not doing it for me, I might like the JRPG mode more.
Right.
Death Stranding Director's Cut, we saw a bit more of that.
That looks like fun. I might actually finish Death Stranding now.
I'm a big fan of the cargo catapult. You just shoot that thing across the map.
Yep.
They put in actual combos, so we'll start seeing some like, Death
Combo
Stranding mads.
Yep.
The pair of legs that you can just hitch a ride on look fun.
It's a game about walking, and you don't have to walk in it anymore.
And they also showed this game that like I think we've never actually seen before.
It was totally new. It looked really interesting.
I've never heard of it before. It's called Deathloop.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen it like ever at any of these shows before.
What are we gonna do when Deathloop finally comes out and we're not gonna have Deathloop trailers at E3?
Oh, they're still gonna put Deathloop trailers out because they're gonna probably have like a DLC pack.
DLC trailer. Yeah, I can't wait for E3 2022 where there's gonna be yet another fucking Deathloop trailer. God.
All in all, not like a super great state of play. I feel kind of bad because it feels like this was going to be like their E3 state of play, and they didn't have too much to show for it.
I'm just waiting for Horizon 2, guys.
Horizon 2. I'm surprised there wasn't like a Horizon thing at this one.
Yeah, you would think, because like that's the time to show it, but well, maybe they'll show it later.
And I guess it was probably a little too early to show off any Spider-Man stuff.
Oh yeah, they're not gonna have any Spider-Man or God of War stuff yet.
Yeah, God of War got delayed, didn't it? It's not on the docket, but like it got pushed back. Like they were like, "Oh yeah, we did that way too early. Sorry."
Yeah, because of COVID, they were supposed to be out this year, or maybe next year. I can't remember, but it definitely got delayed because they were like, "Oh, whoopsie doodle, never mind.
Yeah.
Oops, fuck."
I hope that I think Rift Apart's probably the first time Insomniac could put DLC in a Ratchet game, so I hope they do something for that. That would be cool.
That'd be nice.
If they're not going to do Spider-Man stuff, then give me more Ratchet stuff.
Right.
What else do I got? Transformers Cross Jurassic Park crossover revealed by Hasbro.
I had because like I've been talking to my actual in real life friends about this whole Transformers thing that's eaten my life, and my friends sent me that. Like one of my real life friends sent me that, and I was like, that looks cool. And then I saw the price tag, and I went, never mind.
So Tyrannosaurus Rex is a redeco of Beast Wars Megatron. Mm-hmm. And then the worst name ever, Autobot JP93.
I hate it.
He looks like a heavy retool of the Prowl line. Mm-hmm. Because he's got like the door wings and stuff, and I don't own War for Cybertron Prowl, but
because you don't want to invite that kind of evil into your home.
Mine
you know
is.
What I mean?
I have Cyberverse Prowl. I have the Cyberverse Prowl because he came in a 3-pack with him, Shockwave, or no, not Shockwave, him, Soundwave, and Starscream. So I got 3 evildoers basically. And yeah, I bought it mostly for the Starscream.
No, you got 2 evildoers and Soundwave.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, he looks like a heavy retool of that, that mold, Prowl's mold, because Prowl, they have other characters that are also in that same mold. I think Blue Streak and everything, and Smoke
Streak. This fucking thing is $135.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot of money. No, thank you.
No, I mean, I can just get Beast Wars Megatron.
Yeah, for way cheaper.
He doesn't, JP93 doesn't look that cool, honestly. No. Like the Jeep from Jurassic Park is not like what I would consider an iconic vehicle, Sure. It should have just been like, a more dinosaur, like a T-Rex and like another dinosaur, like a Velociraptor or something.
I get it, because like I think the Jeep is fairly iconic, like for like a 90s property, it's up there. But even still, just like $135? It's not that iconic. It's not the fucking DeLorean.
Yeah, compared to the other crossover things we've got the fighter jet from Top Gun. We've got the DeLorean. We've got the Ecto-1.
Yeah.
Like, compared to those, like, it's like... And also, the car from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, exactly.
Where is my mystery machine?
I know. It's gotta happen eventually.
Where is my turtle tank?
Ooh, turtle tank would be really good, yeah.
That's the one I want.
That's surely got to happen, right?
That has got to happen at some point, right?
Those are the same rights holders, I think.
I mean, I don't know who does do the toys for TMNT.
Surely to God, right? Like,
I mean, it's probably Hasbro or Mattel. I just don't know which one.
Well, either way.
Yeah.
It's cool, but it's not $135 cool. So
no. If they sold like them individually, I might have gotten one, but I'm not going to get both.
Right.
Speaking of some stuff that sells for way too much, this is a shot and chaser.
Oh boy.
Legend of Zelda cartridge sells for a record $870,000 at auction, and then shortly after that, Super Mario 64 cartridge sells for let me get the exact number here. $1,560,000.
Wow. So, like, is it just because they're not opened? Like, what is the big deal with them? Is it literally just unopened copies of Ocarina of Time and Mario 64?
Factory sealed copies of, not Ocarina of Time, of Zelda 1.
Oh, okay.
Zelda 1 sold for $870,000.
That still seems a lot. I mean, I know that those are becoming increasingly hard to find, but like
I understand. I can understand the collector like instinct, like the urge to collect stuff. I collect stuff. I collect Transformers. I collect video games. Right. My question is, when you spend $1 million to get a sealed copy of Mario 64, what do you do with it?
That just sits in I mean, honestly, that is, it's just an investment. Like, you don't actually own it to appreciate it. You own it because you think it's going to appreciate in value.
Yeah, you'll
be able to sell it for $2 million in 10 years or whatever.
Yeah, your goal is to sell it later for more.
Right. That's why. These I think these auctions, I know the Mario 64 auction was either Christie's or Sotheby's. I think. No, I could be wrong. Fuck. It could be something, I might be wrong. But either way, like, the reason these huge auctions get press like this, they send out press releases, right? Like,
right.
Auction houses, when crazy shit sells for big money, auction houses put out a press release saying, like, hey, this crazy shit just sold for big money, because, like, that is advertising to to other people to come sell their stuff because they think they can get big money that way.
Right.
And everybody involved in the auction makes money by doing that. Like the auction house themselves get a cut. And then, like, obviously the person who purchased it is going to use that press down the line to sell that later for more, you know? Like,
yeah.
It's not really about, like, appreciating the game or anything like that.
Yeah, because it's Mario 64. Like, you can get a copy of Mario 64 anywhere. You can play Mario 64, right?
I even feel like factory sealed versions of Mario 64 are not actually that rare.
Well, there's a quote from the article in here about that, actually.
Oh, hit me.
Just to give some context, they're talking about, you know, these kinds of collectible things. So, a quote from Denise Khan, president and founder of WADA Games, a company that evaluated both Legend of Zelda and Super Mario 64 for quality before they were listed for auction. Says, quote, over the last few years, there have been a lot of people who have started collecting in other areas, like comics or coins or cards, and their markets are very mature. At this point, all of the copies of Action Comics 1 have been flushed out of attics and into collectors' hands. There aren't hundreds of these in high perfect grade out there. In some cases, there's 1 or 10 or 5. So, like, a proper factory sealed in this condition of Mario 64 is not... There are not many of these.
I guess so. I guess it's been long enough at this point that every factory sealed copy of, but even then, it's still not worth $1 million fucking dollars.
I mean, apparently it is.
I mean, okay, that's true. I mean, worth is dependent on what people are willing to pay for it. So yes, I suppose it actually is worth $1 million. But also, like, auction houses are like kind of scams too. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's kind of running a grift to try and jack the price up on stuff. Like, it's kind of what happens with art these days.
Heritage Auctions is where it was sold from.
Thank you. Okay. But yeah, no. Oof. Stupid. So stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it is dumb. Don't get me wrong. It's very stupid. But I am just kind of, like, interested in just, like, because obviously they don't name who bought it in this article.
No.
But, you know, I just, like, wonder what that mindset is to, like, have that money. Is this person, like, an aficionado of auctioning? Are they a collector of rare materials, or do they like video games, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what is Super Mario 64 to this person?
You know, I feel like if you're a big video game, like if you're buying it to appreciate, like, the game, wouldn't you just buy, like, a decent copy of Mario 64 off eBay? Like,
yeah.
You're not going to find one still wrapped in the factory plastic, but if you've got money to burn, you can buy, like, a copy of Mario 64 off of eBay that's in, like, really good condition for, like, a couple $1,000s probably, right?
Yeah.
Like, you save a lot of money.
This is why I deliberately don't buy, like, not only just because of the price, like, I don't buy, like, super expensive or rare Transformers. Because, like, I'm going to put them out on display. There is a risk that something can happen to them, and I don't want to be too upset if something does happen.
Right, yeah, you don't spend, you know, hundreds and hundreds of dollars, because, like, anything could happen. I suppose that's, like, why you have homeowners insurance, because, like, that kind of shit gets covered by that, but still, I don't know. It's a psychology I can't even wrap my head around, you know what I mean?
It makes me think of, because there was an episode of AVGN where they talked about the, you know when Nintendo had that, like, competition?
Yeah.
Back in the 80s? So anyway.
Sorry.
It's alright. So what I was saying was, there's that episode of AVGN where they're doing the NES World Championship, and he has Pat the NES Punk on as his guest for the bit, where they're talking about, like, thinking about like what they would do if they had gotten like the gold cartridge, and like Pat is doing this whole thing where he's like in front of a crowd and he's like, I've finally done it. I've collected every NES cartridge in the world. I have every single game. And then like the nerd's fantasy is him just like in his basement and he puts it on his shelf and he just kind of drinks his beer and he enjoys the sight and then he goes upstairs.
Yeah, that's it.
Like that's the mindset of these like these people who will spend $1 million on these games.
Yeah, it's very strange to me. It's a way of thinking that I literally cannot even wrap my head around. But of course, that is the thing about being like ultra wealthy, which you have to be to spend $1.5 million on a Super Mario cartridge. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like they live in a totally different universe than anybody you and I know. They can just drop $1.5 million on a fucking video game like that. Like the pride of my collection for years and years, and still is, like my copy of Suikoden 2, which sells for like $200, and that's it. You know what I mean?
And that's still a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Yeah, like I am proud of that, but that's like nothing compared to some of these like really big collector's pieces. You know, like no, I can't even comprehend it. I can't even imagine what the inside of this person's house looks like.
Yeah.
I am as far from the kind of life they live as like any average serf was from some fucking king, you know? Like, I can't even think of it. Mm-hmm. So
God. Just picturing like a medieval king with like
Mario.
A fucking copy of Mario 64 like in his castle.
Just around his neck on a gold chain inside of like a plastic container, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's a symbol of his royalty. Yeah. Jesus.
God. His Royal Majesty approacheth!
Kneel before the royal copy of Mario 64. That's how you determine who gets to be king. You instead of a coronation, you put the copy of Mario 64 on them.
Well, no. Clearly it would be a princess who would have it, right?
Oh, naturally.
Yeah, and then, like the serf is, the royal shit shoveler. Mm-hmm. Wearing his overalls and red shirt.
God. Alright, what's next?
Next is the biggest news article of this entire month, okay? Like the top of the line.
Oh, no.
Avatar's Korra spotted in Nickelodeon fighting game cover art. So who are you maining in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl?
Helga, for sure. Absolutely. I can't wait to do like the backwards punch that she does
that's her back throw.
Yeah. It's gonna be great.
I am definitely gonna be a Mr. Dink main. Sure,
absolutely. Big brain people play as a powdered toast man, but I don't think I've got that kind of a mind for tactics, you know what I mean?
I think someone pointed out like one of the funniest things about this thing is that like the roster that this game is having spans so many decades that you will have groups that know, you have fans that will know one group and not the other on both sides.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's probably going to be new stuff in this game that I know nothing about. Nothing about whatsoever.
They showed off, 'cause you and I were like, oh my god, it's Powdered Toast Man, and the characters from Real Monsters. And then, then I'm like, who the fuck are these Loud House characters? What the hell is the Loud House?
I don't even know what the Loud House is.
And then there's going to be people who are like 10 that are going to be like, who is Powdered Toast Man?
Yeah. It's a very interesting, it feels very much like, so the devs for this game made, like an indie version of Smash, like their own kind of like indie knockoff Smash, and it kind of feels like they made that to make this, if that makes sense. Like,
no, I think so too.
I think they made that just so they could go to Nickelodeon and be like, look, we really like Nick properties. We have made a good and functional Smash clone that was, mildly successful enough to keep the doors open and the bills paid. So we have had success with Smash clone. We want to do the good netcode.
Yeah, they've already promised it's gonna have rollback.
it's gonna have rollback. So like, we want to do this right. Will you let us? You know, and I think they probably, that happens. You know, companies will pitch to other companies and say like, hey, will you let us make this game? And yeah, I guess Nick just went along with it because, like, why not? They're not doing anything with these properties. Why not, like, make some money off a fighting game and see how it does? And, you know, by doing, like, rollback netcode and being kind of like a big love letter to, like, old Nicktoons from back in the day, like, you get a lot of free, good publicity of people being like, yeah, this looks actually kind of good, you know? Like, at least it'll be fun.
I'm in love with all of the memes that have come out so far about this.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait. Personally, I hope that the master hand of this game is Stickly. So
I think it'll be face.
I would love for it to be face. I think that would be extremely good. Are they putting Blue in from, like, Blue's Clues? Have they said that yet?
I don't know, but I could see her being, like, an assist trophy.
You can't actually, like, hurt Blue from Blue's Clues.
No, of course not.
You can't kick a dog from a children's cartoon.
No,
so she's probably not going to be playable.
Not one that's, like, not sentient, because, like, Cat Dog is in this game, but you can beat up Cat Dog because he can talk.
Yeah, you can beat up Cat Dog. That's not... And because Cat Dog is an abomination and should be beaten up, naturally. But Blue is just a good girl. We don't hurt Blue. She's a good baby girl.
I do like that, like, in other, like, Nickelodeon all-star games, like the kart racers or whatever, you know, you can play as the Rugrats, but in this one they only have Reptar to be the Rugrats rep.
Yeah, that's funny.
Because you can't beat up a baby.
You can't have little kids getting beat up in your licensed game.
You cannot have Powdered Toast Man just beating the shit out of a baby.
As funny as I think that would be, and I would pay for that season pass.
Like, Aang would not get in a fist fight with a toddler.
Oh, that sounds awesome, though.
Zim would, but...
Zim would beat up a little kid. Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, he does all the time.
Mm-hmm. But maybe not Avatar Aang.
No,
I don't think so.
Korra might. If you got her mad enough, she might punt a little kid, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of my favorite memes is the thing of Mr. Dink turning into like the werewolf, where he's like, "You pecked my throat."
Yeah, I love the dad from Jimmy Neutron, his voice actor, just like lobbying really hard to get into this game.
God.
And I really hope it works because I think that would be amazing.
The one thing, like, this is kind of like a weird thing to care about, I think, but like the one thing I thought watching this trailer that stood out to me was like, there is not a lick of voice acting in this trailer.
Oh, that
kind of sucks.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's just that they haven't gotten around to recording that.
Well,
I mean,
because, like, you know, like I watched like a clip of the kart racer, and that doesn't have voice acting either. So
it makes sense in this case. I mean, it sucks, and I hope they at least get a little bit of voice acting in, like maybe down the line. Like, you know, maybe they just haven't done the recording yet.
Yeah.
But if this is like an indie studio pitching to Nickelodeon,
right?
They probably are making this on a pretty low budget, you know. It's
also just like, you know, some of these characters haven't been on on television in, you know, 2 decades.
Yeah, exactly. So their voice actors might not be alive or not working anymore.
Yeah, retired, or, you know, they can't, you know, the royalties to get them would be way too much. And yeah, I know because I know Cartoon Network did like their own Smash Brothers clone, and they just got a lot of replacement voice actors that all sounded terrible.
Right, yeah.
So
I don't know, maybe they'll use like old recordings or something. I have no idea.
Maybe if this one is a success, All-Star Brawl 2 will have voice acting.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, like, this is probably... This does not have the budget of an actual Smash Brothers, you know what I mean?
It looks like a GameCube game, let's be honest.
It very obviously does not have the same kind of budget as fucking Smash Ultimate, you know what I mean?
It's coming out for PS5, and it looks like a PS2 game.
Yeah,
so,
you know, they're really coasting by on goodwill. I think that's probably why they were like, no, we have to do the good netcode.
Yeah.
So that people will actually... It's kind of like how Them's Fightin' Herds has like a fan base entirely because it has good netcode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh yeah.
Same thing.
For sure, it's got to be that, like, if it plays mechanically well, because it's a fighting game, it'll be a success if it's mechanically well.
Right.
And it just so happens to have, you know, a bunch of Nickelodeon characters in it.
Yeah, a bunch of characters that everybody are extremely nostalgic about, and the idea of beating Reptar's ass as Powdered Toast Man sounds great. That sounds awesome.
I do think it's weird they've only announced 2 turtles.
Yeah, that is very strange. It's Mikey and Leo.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And it makes me wonder if, like, they're gonna announce, you know, Donnie and Raph separately.
Right.
But it's like, it is like 2 is acceptable. 3 is really weird.
Strange. It is very strange cuz like the other, you know, the turtles in Mortal Kombat, they're in Mortal Kombat, or is it Injustice?
Injustice.
It's Injustice, okay. The turtles in Injustice, they're all one character, right?
Right. You pick which turtle you want to start with, and then the others tag in as, like, assists and you know, combo moves and stuff.
Right, yeah, exactly. That's kind of how they tend to work, because, I mean, like, you know, otherwise you've got to come up with 4 different fighting, like, move sets.
It's also the reason why Super Skrull was in Marvel 3, is because that way they can make one character that has the powers of the Fantastic Four, and not 4 separate characters that waste 4 slots.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just very strange it's weird to do 2. It's even just weird to do 2. You know what I mean? It
is weird to do 2, but 1 and 3 would feel worse, I think.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be that, like, Donnie and Raph are, like assists.
Yeah, or they're like...
They're in combos with the other 2? I don't know.
Or, like, whatever stage, like, they're the stage hazard for whatever Ninja Turtle stage there is.
Right, yeah. Very strange.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, the game looks great. I think it'll be fun. It'll be a good party game.
It does look like a lot of fun. I'll pick it up and I'll play it with my friends when we get together, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely a game that, especially when you're, you know, when you are like 90s kids. It's such an overused, it is an overused and obnoxious term, but this time it actually is a valid term to use. When you're like a 90s kid, like, yeah, you have a lot of fond memories of Nickelodeon. This is a game that, like, people our age can play with, like, their friends at a party, and it's like, yeah, that's fun. That's good. It's an easy sell. And if it's a budget title, which it certainly looks like one.
Yes, it does.
Which is fine. If it's a budget title, then that makes it even easier to sell, right? You sell the thing for $30 fucking dollars.
Yeah.
Everybody buys it. You take it to a party on your Switch or your PlayStation or whatever, and everybody sits around. They play, like, you know, Nickelodeon Smash Brothers. That sounds awesome. It's a great time.
I'll drop $30 to pick up this game and play it twice at friend gatherings, and then never again.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Sounds like a great time.
So yeah, I am excited to see what other characters they announce.
Me too.
I do like that someone was like, Doug won't be in it because he's mercifully owned by Disney right now.
Yeah. I think it's very funny that we've kind of like reinvented Japan time, but it's like Nicktoons time.
Oh my god, you're right.
Where we're all just waiting to hear who else they announce. Japan time is back, baby.
People were like analyzing the the silhouettes in the box art and trying to piece together who was what.
It's great.
It always does freak me out when like Zim gets to be in one of these games though.
Right?
Because he feels like such a black sheep of the Nicktoons franchise.
Well, Nickelodeon was not very kind to Zim.
No. It's not on the docket, but this was announced because it was announced like today. But Did you see the new power in Psychonauts 2?
No.
You can create a paper drawing doppelganger of yourself. And the voice actor for the doppelganger is Ricky Simons, who is the voice of Gert.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And
I'm
like,
so glad.
Ricky Simons like posted it on Twitter because he was like, that's me. I'm in this thing now, and it's just like, yeah, you did that for the reason we all know you did it.
We know why you did that, and you know what?
Because it's
good.
Not,
I'm glad.
Because it's not like Ricky Simons is like a notable voice actor. He's a writer.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah.
So he's not like, it's not just like, oh, hey, look at that. These two characters are back together.
Right.
No, you cast Ricky Simons because Richard Horvitz is the voice of Raz.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. I'm so glad. I'm so excited for Psychonauts 2.
Me too. It looks really good. I gotta play Psychonauts 1 now.
What? You've never played Psychonauts 1?
We've had this conversation like 3 times.
I'm sure we have.
I have not played Psychonauts 1 yet. I need to get on
that.
Play
Psychonauts 1. It's so good. It's so hard at the very end, which is probably why they did that invincibility. So they announced like an invincibility mode for Psychonauts 2.
Mm-hmm.
Almost certainly because Psychonauts 1 is it's really manageable for 85%, 90% of the game. 95% of the game, really. It is just the last segment, basically, of the whole game is this insanely hard platforming challenge. And, to this day, I remember, crying because it was so hard. I just wanted to finish fucking Psychonauts. So that's almost certainly why they were like, we should probably do that again so people will finish our video game.
Yeah, I'll play 2 or play 1 at some point before 2 comes out. I promise. I really want to. It looks super good.
So good. All right, what else?
Next, 2K launch XCOM game that looks like shit. They changed the title of this article, but I didn't.
Boo, cowards! You should have stuck with it, Kotaku.
Now it's 2K launch X game that looks nothing like XCOM. I put this article on here because of that title and the balls that Luke Plunkett has to just say it looks like shit.
It does look like shit.
It does.
They're right, and they should say it. These fucking, these fucking assholes on Twitter who these motherfuckers on Twitter will love to walk around and say oh, this looks like dog shit or that looks bad and blah blah blah. But then fucking Kotaku says it too, and suddenly they're like, oh, it's about ethics and games journalism. Mm-hmm. No, it's just that you're an asshole and you want to dogpile on Kotaku for no reason. Everybody thinks it looks like dog shit. It's a fucking it's the lowest kind of mobile game gotcha horse shit, everything's on cooldown timers,
Yeah. And so here's the quote from the article at the very end. Update 11:31 p.m. This post and its headline have been edited to reflect soft launches are common in the mobile space and not reflective of the quality of the game itself.
Boo!
Boo!
Cowardly!
Boo! Be bold and call a game shit when it looks like shit.
Just let it say that it looks like shit. The people who complain about Kotaku headlines don't read Kotaku.
No, of course not.
None of them read Kotaku. They literally all they do is just shit on Kotaku. And I'm not a huge Kotaku fan by any means, but who cares that somebody called their shitty XCOM game shitty? It looks like shit.
You're
just
not
own it.
You guys aren't gonna play it. It's
You're
a fucking garbage mobile game.
Yeah, it's meant to be shoveled out the door. It's make work for game devs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the people who work on it, and the people who the people who made it, who get on Twitter and oh, my feelings are so hurt. You're not that invested in your fucking dog shit mobile game, right? The people who made this game are not emotionally invested.
No, they're farming it out.
XCOM game. They're farming it out. They're getting a paycheck. That's it.
What? What do you fucking think this is going to be the next FGO?
No, nobody cares. It's not Genshin Impact. It's not FGO. It's none of these games that people actually give a shit about. It's something that's like meant to fulfill a contract, basically, you know. And then everybody got paid for it, and it'll be supported for 6 months, and then it'll die. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, like 95% of fucking mobile games.
They're jamming the needle of quick money into their arms, and they're getting their high, and then they're going to walk away.
They're going to get something. They're going to get some other contract work, because it's almost certainly a studio that exclusively does contract, basically mercenary work. You know what I mean? Like they go to a company and they're like, "Hey, we'll build you a mobile game." It's almost what's going on with Nickelodeon, but like the scummier version.
Yeah.
Like, they go and they say, hey, we'll build you a mobile game with one of your cheaper franchises that you don't really give a shit about, you know? And you'll make a little bit of money off of it, off of brand recognition. We'll get paid, you'll get paid. We'll support it for a couple of months. It'll have loot boxes and shit, so it'll generate some income for maybe a year, you know? And then it'll die. And then everybody walks away happy because you've made a little bit of extra scratch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody involved in the making of this fucking mobile game cared about it one bit. So, like, to pretend that, like, oh, but what about the fee-fees of the developers? Like, I don't care. Nobody cares. The people who made it don't care. The people getting mad about this article, like, don't fucking care. Like, you're just doing it to be mad on Twitter. You invented a guy. Congratulations.
You are defending this game because you don't like Kotaku that much.
That's it. Like, get a life. Grow up. Go outside. Touch some grass, as they say.
So speaking of poor decisions made to make money that aren't going anywhere.
Oh boy.
This is not really a news article, it's more like an expose, but it's first it was Assassin's Creed expansion, and now it's Ubisoft's 8-year nightmare.
Ooh, tell me about this one. I did not read this one, but I saw the headline and I meant to.
Inside Ubisoft Singapore struggle to ship Skull and Bones. I didn't know it was supposed to just be a Black Flag expansion.
You know, I didn't either. I assumed that Skull and Bones was like built off of Black Flag. Like they said, like, oh, people really like the sailing of Black Flag. Why don't we build a whole game around it, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought too.
I didn't think that it was supposed to be like an actual expansion to Assassin's Creed. I think that's 4?
Yeah, so here's a quote from the article. Ethan Gatch, quote, Skull and Bones development began back in 2013 as a multiplayer expansion to Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag that would release as a post-launch update, 3 sources with knowledge of the project's origin said. The expansion soon took on a life of its own, however, morphing into a full MMO-like spin-off with the working title Black Flag Infinite, and later a brand new pirate game called Skull and Bones.
Okay.
So this is a lot of words to say the game is not doing too good, so I'm just going to give you a few choice quotes from this article about how things are going.
Ooh, exciting.
Quote, a lot of stuff still doesn't make sense, said one former developer. Just polishing it at this point would be a waste of time. Skull and Bones was originally supposed to launch in late 2018, then sometime in 2019, then sometime after March 2020, then sometime before March 2022, and now it's due to come out before March 2023.
Oh my god. Wow.
Quote, no one believed February 2022 for launch, but you always hope, one current developer told Kotaku that following the latest delay, announced during Ubisoft's May investors call. That earnings call found Ubisoft execs scrambling to explain yet another setback.
Yeah, because, like, do they just not know what this game is?
I feel this feels like the Anthem thing. It feels like a repeat of Anthem, where it's just like no one actually knows what direction this game is supposed to go in.
Sure.
And work has started over so many times that just no one knows what's going to be in the game anymore. They're not given the instructions on, like, well, what part do you want me to do in this?
I guess that makes sense. I feel like Sea of Thieves, like, really threw a spanner in this game's works.
Oh, I think so too. I think Sea of Thieves coming out and now getting a Pirates of the Caribbean expansion before Skull and Bones could.
It's like, because, like, the thing is that So Sea of Thieves and Skull and Bones were announced pretty soon around one another. And it was kind of a funny thing of that year.
It was the big,
like, two Pirates games at the same time. That's interesting. But then, like, Sea of Thieves actually, like, came out. And I wouldn't call it, like, a smash hit, but it's been successful enough to keep the lights on at Rare.
It's been doing its thing. It's apparently...
it does its thing.
If you're a fan of that kind of game, it does it pretty well. And I guess the Pirates expansion is pretty fun.
Sure, and I mean, like, that's totally fine. The thing is that, if you are Ubisoft, one, you probably thought in the back of your head that this game was never going to come out, like Sea of Thieves was never going to come out, because it's a game made by Rare and produced by Microsoft. There's an 85% chance it's going to get canned. But then, like, it came out, and it was, you know, serviceable. It functions. It's good. It's gotten better over the years, of course, as all, you know, games as a service games do. So, like, if you are Ubisoft and this happens and that game comes out and does okay, like, what do you do? Because now suddenly, like, how do you differentiate yourself at all from Skull and Bone? Or from Sea of Thieves?
Because
like,
it's not like either of these games have an identity beyond being pirates.
Games. Yeah.
Right? It like Sea of Thieves is a bit more cartoony for sure.
Sure.
But I mean, they have the same kind of like fashion aesthetic and
the core conceit of both games is the same on paper. Like if you were going to explain kind of what people thought Skull and Bones was going to be, it was, oh, well, you have a pirate ship and you have a crew and you sail around and you sail on your boat and you go do pirate shit. You go explore and do piratey bullshit, right?
It would be like if Outer Worlds and Starfield came out the same time or were announced at the same time, right? Mm-hmm. That's what this would be like.
Yeah. And it's like, on paper, these are two extremely similar games. And so, like, Ubisoft now has a problem with, like, giving this game its own identity. And I assume that's why it's still floundering, is because they just cannot find an identity that will sell this game.
Right.
And the problem is that, like, you almost can't can it at this point, right?
So let me read you a few more quotes.
Ooh, okay.
Nearly 8 years after it was first conceived, Skull and Bones has blown through its initial budgets. According to 3 sources, the project has already cost Ubisoft more than $120 million.
Oh my god!
With that number continuing to balloon as hundreds of developers from other Ubisoft studios continue pitching in to try to ship the game without any more delays.
Oh my god. They're never going to make that back.
So this is actually, a lot of this is really, really good. So, more quote, Ubisoft developers received project-based bonuses based on how other games do. Those attached to big, nearly annual franchises like Assassin's Creed are often paid assured healthy payouts. But Skull and Bones was so in the hole, sources told Kotaku, that the project had to undergo a financial write-off internally for its developers to still have any shot at any sort of payout. Quote, "No one wants to admit they fucked up," said one developer. "It's too big to fail, just like the banks in the US."
Oh my god.
If Skull and Bones were at a competitor, it would have been killed 10 times already, said one former developer.
Absolutely.
Just, oh my, oof.
It's just cascading, yeah.
Yeah.
Because at this point, you have sunk $120 million.
You know, the sunk cost fallacy usually
it's real.
Is not usually a thing. Usually it's referred to as well, I've invested a couple hours into this show, I might as well see it through to the end.
Sure, yeah.
This is dealing with this is dealing with one copy of Mario 64.
This is literal sunk cost. This is not like you have not sunk the cost of time. You have literally sunk the cost of dollars into this game. You almost can't can it, because at that point, the moment you can it is the moment Ubisoft has to say, we sunk 120 to investors.
Yeah.
You have to, because Ubisoft has investors. That's a big company.
Not saying it to the peons that worked on the game, because they don't matter.
They don't matter. They're still the one thing is that everybody who's working on, they're not getting their bonuses, which sucks ass, or they're getting significantly reduced bonuses, but they're still getting paid. Like, everybody who works on this game is drawing a salary, right? Mm-hmm. You have to tell investors who are waiting for like a return,
who have been waiting
on their
for
investment.
8 years.
You have to tell them, like, no, we sunk $120 million into a game we never put out. Like,
where's the money, Ubisoft? And they have to like pat down their pockets and be like, money. Okay.
Oh shit!
Okay,
I left my wallet at home.
So so you're
Funny
gonna laugh.
story.
You're gonna laugh. It's really funny. Okay, so you know how we were like, why don't we make a pirate game? Why don't we have a fun time making this fun multiplayer pirate game? Well, it's really, we all had a really good chuckle about it, but we decided to go in a different direction.
That direction was canceling it.
And so we're just gonna kind of put it on the back burner. We got some great ideas for Assassin's Creed. So we're just gonna kind of like just kind of push it away for now. And then they just never get back to it.
I guess that's what's happening. I guess that's what's happening with Beyond Good and Evil 2 right now.
Oh yeah.
But like, what do you even?
Okay,
I can't even, because to me this is extremely baffling, because like, you have put that much money into the game, you can't cancel it.
No, you can't. You at this point, it existing.
You're right. It is too big to fail.
It existing conceptually is the only reason they haven't lost all their investors yet, because they can still say, no, we'll get it. It'll get here. And the investors can't bail out either, because they have money riding on this, and they can't afford to just walk away from the deal.
Right.
There's more. Quote, one current developer compared the project's trajectory to BioWare's Anthem. Right there. Compared it to BioWare's Anthem.
Absolutely. Same trajectory, 100%.
Another big multiplayer game as a service that looked great in demos, but launched broken and incomplete. Some on the core team developing Skull and Bones are hopeful they can still avoid a similar fate, but are also incredibly desperate to ship the game and move on to something new.
Yeah, I bet.
Just having people working for 4 or 5 years on something that doesn't move forward, that destroys anyone, said one former developer.
Yeah.
So here's the punchline. In response to a detailed list of questions, Ubisoft confirmed to Kotaku that Skull and Bones just passed alpha and provided the following brief statement. The Skull and Bones team are proud of the work they've accomplished on the project since their last update, with production just passing alpha. Again, 8 years.
8 years and they're only in the alpha.
And are excited to share more details when the time is right. That being said, any unfounded speculation about the game or decisions being made only works to demoralize the team, who are working very hard to develop an ambitious new franchise that lives up to the expectations of our players.
8 years.
8
That's
years.
The demoralizing part, guys.
Yeah, they're not sad because people are like, where's Skull and Bones? They're sad because they're going, where's Skull and Bones?
Where's Skull and Bones? Yeah. No, like, can you imagine? I work in a creative job. I mean, it's not as a big of a thing as video game development, but I am in a creative field as my day job. I make art for a living. Mm-hmm. And like, I have been in projects that spin its wheels. Like, I have been stuck, and 6 months of wheel spinning feels bad, because you're just like, when is this gonna start? Like, I have all this stuff that I want to make, that I want to do. Like, I have all these resources that I would like to, kind of put to work, and there's a thing that I want to do, and I wanted to get it out there, and I want to see what people think of it. And you can't, because like the project itself is still just in the development phase, and so you're kind of caught like you're just in a holding pattern the whole time, and so you're just like, when are we starting? And that is for 6 months. That's a really weird, bad feeling, Now stretch that over 8 years.
So just a few more, because this whole article, this it goes on and on and on. So I just want to get a few more quotes from here. Quote, every time we got feedback from Paris, they would just freak out and change everything, and then change the people working on it, and that happened multiple times, said one former developer.
God, what a nightmare.
Each new regime would try to put its own mark on the project beyond staffing, but would eventually relearn the same hard lessons as earlier groups. Fundamental questions like, do you play as a pirate or do you play as a boat, were constantly closed and reopened. At E3 2017 and 18, it was the latter, but after Pelin took over, the team was tasked with letting players go ashore to explore islands on foot. The existing tools and asset pipelines were for ships on water. Land locomotion would require new ones. According to 3 current and former developers, Skull and Bones lost 6 months to a year in issues like these alone.
Yeah.
Production was moving ahead, but the designs were regressing. They started asking the whole team to do for the first 2016 design documents, because that's what they wanted to do again, said a former developer. We went full circle, just plus a year of giant layer of crafting.
That just makes me want to throw up.
Right?
Like, it just makes me want to die, like, hearing this kind of stuff, because, again, a creative job, like, this is all stuff I've heard before on a way smaller scale, mind you. But, like, so I can't even imagine the frustration of doing it for years and years and years. Like, a couple of weeks of this whole, like, well, let's try this, let's do this. No, let's go back to the original thing. Like, that makes me want to, kill myself.
Yeah.
So like, doing that for years, losing all that time, only to be told, like, no, go back to the original plan, and like, do you play as a pirate or do you play as a boat? That is still a question that nobody knows about this fucking game. And the thing is that, like, you almost have to do it as you play as a pirate, right? And it sounds like they want to go back to playing as a boat. But the thing is that is such a... That's too niche. That's like EVE Online, but in the water. You know what I mean? That's not kind of like the personalized experience that, like, modern people are, like, your average modern player is kind of gunning for. Like, like, all of these other kind of always online games that are really successful now, your No Man's Skies, your Destinies, your Sea of Thieves, like, those are all... You play as the person going on, exploring adventures. And, like, there are games out there where you play as just, like, a ship in space, or a ship on the water. Those games exist. But they're not $120 million existing.
No.
You know what I mean? You're not going to make that money back with that kind of a structure.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, if you're spending this much money on the game... You need to put out something that is going to last. You can't just ship, like, what the original.
They're never going to make this money back. This money is going into a hole. Like, they might as well take that money and set it on fire.
Yeah, the pitch of this game was going to be, which was multiplayer adventure pirate game,
right?
Was never meant to make this much money. But now that they've sunk something, the only thing they can do is release it at a loss.
And just pray that it gets legs like Final Fantasy 14, like, but they're not. You can't make it. Final Fantasy 14 is a flash in the pan. That's magic that only happens every now and then. You can hope maybe to do a fucking No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky doesn't have a $120 million budget. I think they have these days maybe 60 people working on it.
And they poured everything they had into fixing that game.
Yeah.
Ubisoft has to make more games.
Ubisoft has to make, like, they have other priorities, and they are beholden to way more investors. I think Hello Games is still mostly, like, it has investors, but they are small scale investors. They're like people that fucking Sean Murray knows and asked for $100K from. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, these are not big multinational investment corporations. They are much smaller things. Like, when you're beholden to big entities like that, you can't do like let's spend a year or two, like, really putting this. That's why they killed Anthem, is because, like, when you are that beholden to huge investors like that, you can't spend that much time and money putting your game back together and making it serviceable. You know what I mean? Like, there's no time.
It just has to be so demoralizing. Like, so.
Oh my god, I can't even imagine.
One last quote from here. This article is incredible, by the way. I highly recommend everyone listening to this go read it. Quote, the toxic culture permeating the Singapore studio is in no small part responsible for most of the production issues, reboots, rebrands, and re-reboots that have plagued Skull and Bone for a decade, said one former developer said. Or as another put it, since the beginning, this project has always been driven by fear.
Amazing. Amazing. Just stunning. Stunning in how poorly you can manage a game. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, there have had, like, other games that kind of lived in development hell. Like your Duke Nukem Forevers and whatnot.
Right.
But those games weren't constantly being worked on for 12 years or whatever.
Duke Nukem exchanged hands so many times that the thing we got was not the game that took, 20 years to come out?
Right, yeah. It's a totally different beast. Like, what they started building when they first announced Duke Nukem Forever, none of those parts are in the game that came out. Right? Like, and there were huge stretches of time where nobody was working on Duke Nukem Forever. This is not that kind of a situation. This is, and it's kind of what happened with Final Fantasy Versus 13 turned Final Fantasy 15. Like, there were big stretches where they just put a halt on development while they tried to, to some degree it is similar, where they were trying to figure out, what are we going to do with this game? Because, production had become kind of chaotic again. Mm-hmm. But, they still put a halt on it, you know? There weren't people constantly making shit for Versus 13. They eventually were like, okay, we're going to build this. We're going to turn this into Final Fantasy 15. We're going to take a bunch of the old concept art. We're going to build something really fast. Or not really fast, but faster. This is not that. This is a game that has been in constant pre-production and to a degree still production, because we have people building models and coming up with gameplay stuff for, walking around on land and things like that. That's all in active development. And it's still just been putzing along for 8 years. Oh my god.
I do not envy anyone on that team.
I don't.
Can you imagine just waking up every day and going to work knowing that at any point they might just say scrap it and start over?
Honestly though, at that point, if I am at Ubisoft Singapore and I'm making this game, you just clock in and you just fuck around on Twitter all day, right?
Yeah.
That's just what you do. You clock in and you play fucking, video games all day and screw around on your computer.
Yeah, there must be such a hesitancy to make any progress at this point.
Yeah, because, until, there's some decree from up top that says, this is what we're gonna do, you really don't even work on anything. I mean, these are, again, I said earlier, this is make work for a lot of people at Ubisoft Singapore. I'm sure they make stuff. I'm sure they're building things. But, when you've worked on a project for 8 years and it's gone nowhere, at that point, everybody involved with this development is not bringing their A game. They're not giving it their all. They are on Facebook.
Yeah, no, of course.
So, yeah, it's very...
Go read this
the
article.
Whole article. Yeah, I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna go read this whole article. Yeah.
Just a few more quick things to get through. Some of these are pretty big, but we don't have too much to go over them. Steam Deck, everything we know about Valve's new handheld gaming device. It's a lot of tech
cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it maybe being good. I'm
looking forward to the second version that they eventually put out.
The price range bothers me. $399 for the 64 gig version, $649 for the 512 gig version.
Right. Yeah.
I'm
not crazy.
Games are big nowadays.
Yes, games are very big, but
this is good for if you want to play a bunch of indie titles.
Yeah.
But I don't So, people were talking like, think of all those big AAA games that are now portable, and it's like, that's not how it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, you're not gonna be able to play, like, I don't know, like, Doom Eternal, or any of those, like, any of these, big AAA games that are on Steam. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna be able to play those handheld and have, like, the same experience as you would on, like, a high-end PC.
Sure.
You have to understand that part.
Yeah, for me, like, me personally, like, I would buy the 64 gigabyte version. Mm-hmm. But that's because, like, I would put Stardew Valley on it. And then I could play a handheld version of Stardew Valley with mods in my bed. Well,
my question is, like, would you be able to get mods on this?
Yeah, it's just a PC.
Oh, okay, so it's just a handheld PC. Okay.
Yeah, it's literally just a handheld PC. Like, you will be able, it's going to be able to run, I think it's running off of Linux? I think they said they're running it's actually running off of Linux, but you can still just, you can just install Windows on that thing. Like, yeah, okay. You'll actually just be able to, like, run PC shit on it. So yeah, you'll be able to do, like, mods and stuff.
Yeah, but, like, this is going to be great for indie titles and smaller stuff. Like, there's a lot of games on PC that I, like, wish were on a console. So this does work out for that.
For me, like, it's great.
But anyone who thinks, for instance, we're going to be able to run Kingdom Hearts 3 on this. No.
I mean, theoretically, you could run Kingdom Hearts. I think, like, the specs are pretty, like, decent. You probably could, like, run Doom Eternal on it. It would be on, like, lows, like medium settings. But like, whatever. That's the Switch version, right?
Yeah.
But, like, it could theoretically run it. It's just that unless you're paying for, like, the 512 gigabyte version, you're not going to be able to store it.
Right. That's the problem.
But I wonder, like, in my head, is this a proprietary solid state drive? And if not, if it's just running off of a laptop solid state drive, couldn't you just put one in? I mean, laptop solid state drives are expensive, mind you.
So the Steam Deck specs, it does have storage. 64 gig is an eMMC. So the 64 one is not an SSD. The 256 and the 512 are.
Okay. So that's probably also why it's more expensive.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, I mean, like, just frankly, shell out for the 256 and 512 one. Honestly,
it looks pretty good. Like, this, just looking at the stats here, just based on, like, a quick cursory glance, it looks, about what you would expect. The battery is probably gonna be awful.
Oh, it's gonna be awful. It's the Game Gear all over again.
Yeah,
you're gonna play that thing connected to the wall. This is a thing you play in bed. This is not a thing you play on the bus.
you want to lay down on your couch and get kind of cozy and play something on a touchscreen. Like, this is what this is.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. Like, it's not like it's unique in that it's finally a Steam box that we can just play games on. Yep. But beyond that, like, it's not really anything, like, super wowing about it besides just, it's Steam.
It's huge. It's a massive thing. It is a very large boy. It's a big old boy.
Yes, it's two Vitas.
It's two Vitas side by side, yeah. I mean, I am cautiously optimistic about it. I think it looks really neat. I'm hoping that this is, like, next year they're going to put out like a version, 2.0 or whatever. Yep. And I'll buy that one instead.
Yeah.
If this does well, then, like, maybe I'll pick one up later. Because I do think it's interesting for me. I think it's pretty promising because, like you said, indie games, smaller titles, stuff like that. Like, hell yeah, I would much rather play that in bed. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking to run Fallout 4 on it.
Right. No, of course not.
But, like, for small stuff, Hell yeah, I think it sounds interesting.
For all the stuff we play on Indie Week.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Just lay around in bed all night and play Indie Week games.
Yeah. So,
what else?
Next, Genshin Impact to add Aloy from Horizon series.
What a strange crossover.
I don't know who pointed it out, but like, I think the reason is because Aloy is about as close as Sony has to a mascot at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, I mean, like, it could, you know, unlike, say, Ratchet, who wouldn't fit in a game like Horizon, right. Aloy is like their only, you know, human character that counts as pretty much their mascot.
And I mean, like, she, you know, I mean, done in like that anime style, she's kind of aesthetically cohesive with Genshin Impact. She looks cool. I mean, like, I like Aloy a lot. I like Horizon. Yeah. I would do this, but in order to get her, you have to be adventurer level 20. Like, by the time this kind of event thing happens, you know, it's gacha game rules, FGO rules. You have to be like you have to be level 20 to get her by the time like her little thing happens. And I just don't have that kind of time to put Genshin Impact. I played a little bit of Genshin. It just didn't wow me. Like,
no,
maybe if I got a little deeper into it, maybe it would catch me a little bit better. I know it's pretty forgiving in terms of gacha rates and stuff like that. Like, it's certainly no FGO in terms of cruelty. FGO is the cruelest of the gacha games. But like, you know, it just didn't really do anything for me. So.
It didn't. The style didn't click with me.
The art style doesn't really vibe with me, and you know, it's fine.
The other thing is Aloy makes a lot more sense than their other character they just kind of like have fall through a portal, which is Geralt. Geralt would not fit into Genshin Impact.
Sony's only other like character that they could use is Kratos.
Yeah, and he would...
No! I don't think he would jive.
No, he wouldn't fit.
He fits it. No, so it's gotta be Aloy.
Fit. It's gotta be Aloy, yeah. They have like a hierarchy of just like, who fits the aesthetic here? Is it Kratos or Aloy?
And if it's like a cute mascot character, like an animal, that's when you use Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's Aloy. Mm-hmm. So
that's their gradient.
Yeah.
It's Ratchet, Aloy, and Kratos.
Yeah, exactly.
Two more. One, first, new Dragon Ball anime movie teased by CG Goku. We know very little about this, besides the fact that Piccolo now looks like his manga design.
And he's got a house now.
And he finally has a house and, like, real shoes.
My man isn't homeless anymore. I'm so proud of him. He's come so far.
We've also seen that Pan is a toddler, which means they're moving forward in time, which hopefully means that Goten and Trunks will not look like toddlers anymore.
No, you're wrong. They're still going to be inexplicably like little kids. I'm
hoping Trunks at least looks like the first half of like History of Trunks, where he's like a little shit kid 14-year-old.
With his flock of seagulls flipped hair.
Yeah. I hope he looks at least a bit like that. I don't know. I hope it's not fully CG. I hope I hope the Goku is just like a teaser because like the concept art was all 2D.
Right. Yeah, you know.
It is.
I've heard that it's a little bit more slice of life focused, which I think sounds kind of neat.
Yeah, I would be okay with like that's what I wanted Super to be. My favorite parts of Super are just the characters hanging out at Bulma's house. Right,
just goofing off and fucking around. Yeah, like that's the best part of Super. So like it's, you know, if it's a little bit more of that with like a 20-minute fight scene at the end, cool, perfect.
Yeah, I would love that. Done. They showed a bunch of, I don't know, villains, like side characters. I don't know what they are.
Mooks. Those are mooks. That screams mooks.
Thing 1 and Thing 2.
Yep.
Here's a quote. Goku voice actress Masako Nozawa is especially excited. I'm sure you're all bursting with excitement waiting for the Dragon Ball movie. I'm certain that Dragon Ball Super Superhero will more than live up to everyone's expectations. The superhero subtitle is pretty cool, right? I love how simple and straight to the point it is. I am obviously biased towards Sean Schemmel because that's what I grew up with, but
sure.
God, Masako Nozawa has been doing this for 30 years now, right?
40.
That isn't.
Yeah.
And she was old when she started.
She's like an old lady now. She's like for sure like a for real old lady. She's like in her 70s or 80s now.
And she can still do it.
She can still do it.
You know?
She can still just own it. Like, good for her, honestly.
And Krillin's voice actress.
They'll never stop.
They've just been doing it. How many times has Masako Nozawa and Sean Schemmel done the lines where they killed Frieza?
Oh,
like how many like do you ever think about like what it must be like to be a DBZ voice actor?
You just say the same lines over and over again forever.
Hey, we have another game going on. Here's the script again. Can you record the lines again? It's the exact same script. We're just recreating the scenes. It's just
the same lines forever.
At least
they probably hear them in their sleep, right?
At least the English ones, because of like the progression of like voice act, like, you know, localization quality. At least they get to mix it up. You know, like Goku doesn't do Ally to Good, Nightmare to You anymore. Right. He gets to like actually be more consistent with the actual original dialogue.
Right.
But Masako Nozawa has been doing the exact same fucking lines
for 30 years.
Over and over again.
Surely, I mean, like I said, she's got to hear them in her sleep at this point, right?
No, for sure.
Like, oh god, I can't even imagine. It's the same feeling that the Skull and Bones developers go through.
Yeah, but at least her stuff comes out.
At least her stuff comes out. That's true.
So to assuage fears of it being CG, the original teaser for Battle of the Gods was CG as well.
Oh, okay. So maybe
that might just be like, hey, it's Goku and he's CG and we're announcing a movie.
I'm sure it's showing off because like they use CG models a lot for the fight scenes now, for like the more, like complicated shit in the fight scenes.
The very infamous one from Broly where Vegeta or Gogeta did not look very good.
No, there's a lot of really obvious CG in that movie. As good as I think that movie is.
Maybe they're showing off as Goku because they're like, no, we can do it good this time.
We're gonna have a good model.
We're gonna have CG in the fight scenes, but he can be good this time. We do it good.
We swear we have a good model this time. Please believe us.
But no, I am hoping it's like a little bit more grounded slice of life stuff, and it's just a movie of hanging out and having some fun. And I hope Broly's in it. Like, I hope they don't just
show up.
I hope they don't just like abandon that plot point. I hope he gets to just be in it and interact with everyone else.
Yeah. I want Super Broly to get to hang out with people because he's like a good baby boy.
Mm-hmm.
He's my sweet boy.
Yeah,
and I would like to have him hang out and goof off.
I really because like they're talking about like superheroes, so like it's implying maybe Saiyaman will do more stuff.
Please.
And hey, what movie was Saiyaman in? He was in the Hirudegan movie with Tapion. Yes. What if Toriyama's like, what if we put Tapion in the movie?
Oh my god, I would love for them to just bring that character back so then they could put Tapion in Fighters out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like I know we said we weren't doing any more DLC characters. We lied. Here's Tapion, and he's in a good movie. He's in a great movie this time, and just kind of like an okay movie.
He'll get to fight in a movie this time instead of not fighting in a movie.
Yeah, despite having a sword, it's like no, he actually gets to do something now. Yay! It's too good of a design to be wasted. Come on, guys.
I want to continue the trend. I want it to be a trend of just like Toriyama like making these villains good.
Yeah, taking all these movies that like had neat concepts that they just squandered.
It's like the next one is going to be like, oh, there's some androids left over and they're teaming up with Garlic Jr.
Oh god.
One more. This one's weird.
Okay.
Final Fantasy 16 is prioritizing English voice acting, hasn't even started Japanese dub.
This isn't... Oh, fuck. I twisted my neck. I mean, this isn't, like, the weirdest thing. Because, I mean, like, we know that sometimes when, like, a game developer is going for a certain tone, they'll just use English voice acting. And, I mean, they said they are going to record a Japanese voice track. I'm thinking of, like how Devil May Cry never had a Japanese voice track until the 5th game, right? Like, Devil May Cry never had they just used English voice actors and they put Japanese subtitles beneath it because they were going for a certain tone, right? Mm-hmm. They wanted it to be like a dumb American action movie kind of thing,
right? But
like,
it just, this is, Devil May Cry was, designed to be an American, like American influences, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know if that's necessarily true for Final Fantasy. I don't. So here's the quote. Here's the weird part. Here's the quote. Okay. We've been prioritizing English voice recording, and we're specifically doing it in British English. We're using facial capture, so later on we don't have to adjust by hand each of the faces during cutscenes. And its full capture is in the motion capture actors are also doing the voice acting simultaneously. Yoshida said, "The Japanese dubbing will start soon."
Well, I understand the British English thing. That's Final Fantasy 12. That's what they're saying. Everybody's gonna have British accents like Final Fantasy 12. They're going for that tone. But it is really odd to prioritize. All I can think...
Well, because for 12, they did a Japanese dub, right? For 12.
Yeah, because Balthier is voiced by Sanji.
Yeah, and so they probably did the Japanese voice first, and then, yeah, because like you said, 12 is famously cast, like, they cast stage actors from Britain for the characters.
Right. I mean, maybe they did the English voice acting for that one. All I can think is that Final Fantasy is the rare JRPG that is as big in the Western world as it is in Japan, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so all I can think is that they're getting the English voice track done first for trailer purposes. Right?
That's a good point.
Yeah. They're doing English first for trailer purposes so that, like, all of the trailers going forward will just be in English, and then later when the game comes out, it'll have, dual voice tracks. It'll have a Japanese voice track as well for Japanese players. But Final Fantasy is, like, the one game, like, really, it's like the one JRPG that is equally as big in the United States as it is in Japan because of like cultural stuff.
Right. Unlike,
so they want to sell it bigger, as big in like the European territories and here in the West as they are in Japan.
Unlike like Dragon Quest or Persona, which is way more heavily Japan oriented than
here. Absolutely. Even like Tales games and stuff.
Yeah.
Like Tales games. I mean, they do pretty okay here in the West, but they're, like, way bigger in Japan. Obviously, I mean, there's, like, Tales Fest and stuff like that,
It's
like most other Japanese games are just bigger in Japan,
I would like to know why,
Yeah. I mean, that's my speculation, is that it's for trailer cutting purposes. Maybe it's because they're using Western face models.
Yeah,
so,
I mean...
the voice actors, it sounds like from the quote you read, the voice actors are the face models?
At least for English, that's what it sounds like. Because it says, and it's, quote, as in its full capture, as in the motion capture actors are also doing the voice acting simultaneously.
Okay, that's why. That's exactly why they're doing it then. Because, like, the people who are doing, like, the faces for these characters speak English. So, like, so they're just going to do, like, they're going to do the face capture of these models at the same time they read the lines. So they're just killing two birds with one stone, basically. And then later they'll go back in, they'll record the Japanese, and then tweak lip syncing and stuff like that.
Right.
And so that's probably why, like, because it's obviously a more like kind of Game of Thrones oriented Final Fantasy, like
I was
kind of Evil East tone game.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's very, very Western fantasy oriented, like European fantasy.
So like all of the actors are probably English speakers, you know. So all of the face models who are also doing the voice acting speak English. So like as they're recording facial animations and stuff like that, they're also just saying their lines and they're recording their lines at the same time. So like that's all getting taken care of at the same time. It makes things easier.
Yeah.
So that's probably why. Which makes sense,
Still,
it's a time-saving measure.
Still very interesting. It
is very interesting.
Peculiar way of handling it.
Yeah, it definitely speaks to kind of this attempt at internationalizing it. I mean, even more so than they already have.
Right.
But I mean, like, they have the guy who makes fucking Final Fantasy XIV, which is like the biggest thing Square has right now.
They do have Yoshi P on this.
Yoshi P is the producer. He's is he producing or is he directing? I think he's just producing.
He's directing. I think.
Really? Okay.
Well, because there's a quote here that says Yoshida also mentioned he's never attended a voice recording session for the other games he directs. So I think he's directing this one.
He is directing.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, they have the guy who made like their most successful game right now, like they're making, which is extremely successful in the West as well. So they're trying to make a more like this kind of speaks to the fact that they're trying to kind of make that as well for like a single player game, like a more Western oriented game.
Yeah.
So
God, I am so invested in 16.
I want to see so much more. I'm just dying. I'm hoping we're going to get something at TGS. We didn't get anything from E3 about it. I'm just, because, TGS it's Tokyo. That's where Square Enix is based. Yeah.
But, it's, you say this about every Final Fantasy, but, like, it doesn't look like any other Final Fantasy. And I want to see them justify this genre shift.
I know. I'm really excited, though, because like every time Final Fantasy does a genre shift, I mean, I like most Final Fantasy games. Like,
yeah, me too.
There isn't really one that I like truly hate. I'm not like a huge fan of 8, but like, whatever.
But like, even it's just funny because like, even though they all do have like wildly different aesthetics and stuff, you can still tell what a Final Fantasy game looks like. Sure. Like if you were to like line up Dragon Quest 12 and a Tales game and be like, which one of these is the Final Fantasy? Like, you could tell which one it was.
Right.
But 16 just looks so different.
It does look extremely different. And I think it's very interesting looking. I'm really excited for whatever kind of weird fucked up story they want to tell. Like,
the dude's name is Clive.
His name is Clive, but, you can't complain about somebody being named Clive when there's a fucking main character named Bart, or Bartz, or Butts, or whatever you want to say. Bartz. Yeah. Like, Clive, sure. There's a guy named Squall. Who cares? All of the main characters have weird names.
It's true.
So I am, fucking the main character of Final Fantasy IV is named Cecil.
That is true, okay? It is. You ever think about how JRPGs have, like, recontextualized certain names for people?
Right, yeah.
Like, would you ever think of, like, a character named Lloyd as a protagonist?
Yeah, you wouldn't think of that as, like, a cool guy name, but because you've played, 150 hours of Tales of Symphonia, like, yeah, Lloyd is a cool guy name. What are you talking about? But, like, no, it's not. That's the name of, like, somebody's grandpa,
Yeah, I work with a guy named Lloyd. He's old.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The main character of Final Fantasy IV is named Cecil. You know who else I know in pop culture right now who's named Cecil? The old bald guy in Invincible.
True.
Like...
I cannot wait to think of Clive as a cool name.
gonna happen. You're gonna think of two things. You're gonna think of two video game things when you think of Clive. You're gonna think of the really cool protagonist from Final Fantasy 16 and the ghost from Pac-Man.
Yep, that's Clyde.
Oh, is it Clyde?
It's
Whatever.
Clyde. Yeah.
It's the same thing to me. It doesn't matter. Either way,
you got to give me a character named Duncan, and then I'll be like, ooh, that's gonna be the challenge to get over.
Duncan? No way. Duncan's a cool name. Duncan's the main character. Is I didn't even know. I don't know if I call him like the antagonist. He is Macbeth's rival, Duncan in fucking Macbeth. You know?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't. That and like Dudley, I don't associate.
Dudley is not cool.
Yeah.
Dudley is not cool. Nobody thinks the name Dudley is cool. I can't think of anybody named Dudley that would be considered interesting or good. But yeah, Duncan for sure. That's a Scottish name. You can think of all kinds of cool Scottish warriors. Still.
Yeah, I'm.
Just give me another trailer. Just give me one more trailer, please, Square Enix. I need to see more, especially after Babylon's Fall looks so bad.
Yeah, I need redemption. I need to see 16, and I need to kill Chaos.
Yeah, that's it. Show me more of Final Fantasy Origins and fucking at 16. Show me some good ass action gameplay instead of some not good action gameplay, please. Thank you.
Okay, that is all the articles I have.
We're done.
We are done. Oh god, so much
happened. Tap it
out. Alright, so thank you to DJ Cutman for use of background music. You can follow me on Twitter at The Gorge Podcast. You can follow Sara at Radioactivity. You can email us at thegorgepodcast@gmail.com. And like we said before, if you want to listen to Sara talk about other things and be in another podcast that I can't be in for a very specific reason, you can listen to it. She's going to tell you about it now.
Hey, if you want to hear about more gay stuff, I'm in another podcast called Big Gay Nerds, where me and a bunch of cool queer friends get together and we play tabletop games. We try out a lot of different systems. It's always a lot of fun. Right now we're playing Masks, the New Generation, a story of young superheroes trying to make their way in the world. Things have taken a turn, and I think they're super interesting. I'm having a lot of fun with this game. I think it's like currently our favorite game we've ever played, just because the cast is really good. So if you want to tune in, head on over to Big Gay Nerds on SoundCloud, and you can find the links to the rest of our social media from there. Thanks.
Alright, that'll do it for us. Now what do you got? You got to have someone from Star Trek, right?
I don't have anything from Star Trek, but I didn't really want to talk about it too much in the news segment because it's so bleak and we're always cracking jokey jokes. But yo, fuck Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, fuck them. Yeah, I was debating.
Fuck Bobby Cott. I know. I was considering asking you to not include it because it's so. I mean, we tell such shitty jokes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's all over Twitter. If you follow this podcast at all, then you follow the kind of people who are talking about the Activision Blizzard scandal. Yeah.
That shit's fucked, man.
It's fucked.
That's
it's awful. It's wretched. I hate it. It's all so sad and just miserable. And makes me just what a wretched industry sometimes, a lot of the time. So yeah, fuck Activision Blizzard, fuck Bobby Kotick.
Yeah.
Everybody else involved over there, fuck God.
Did you see that fucking apology that one guy tried to put out?
Yeah. No.
Where he's just like, wow, that shit's fucked, Lamau. Alright.
No, fuck that shit. Fuck that guy too. Yeah. I hate that shit. Fuck those guys. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.